everybody. Welcome to Directly to You. It's the 125th episode of the Fanatics 4 podcast, which is directly to you, the aforementioned thing that I just said. I'm AJ. I'm joined by Parker. We are collectively Fanatics 4. We're collectively then joined by Olivia from Zelda Universe.
Hi.
Great. It's a fun time. And we can continue to have fun times on every episode if you support the channel at Fanatics 4 on YouTube, youtube.com/Fanatics4, and also on Twitch, twitch.tv/Fanatics4. For $4.99, you get exclusive emotes, you get loyalty badges, you get gaming time with us, you get free Switch keys from time to time, you get access to our supporters-only Discord, where you can talk to Duncan and compare yo-yos. You know, it's a great time. You can also join our Discord when you don't even got to be a supporter, dude. Just click a link in the description and say hello, you know? People will talk about video games. It's fun. Also, non-video games, talk about tests they're taking or something, you know? They talk about
Is that happening?
things.
I haven't been on the Discord.
They talk about things over there, dude. They have conversations. But other than that, you can also support through Twitch if you got Twitch Prime, link your Amazon to your Twitch account. You know, good times. Great fun times. But anyway, how you guys doing? You guys playing any video games?
I am indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say something. I'm playing some more Paper Mario, which has been a great time.
You still playing on my account? How?
Yep, sure am. I mean, I'm like halfway through at this point.
It just never, like, it's funny that it never like clashes. Because when I was playing Fire Emblem, it would like randomly be a thing like, oh, you kicked me out.
But it happens. I just don't feel like saying anything. So Olivia, for some context here, I don't even remember why exactly so much as I think I just wanted to go ahead and play it for the show and get an idea. So I did the whole play it through. We have each other's accounts on our Switches. AJ and I do. And so I played it through his account on the remote play kind of thing.
Right.
For the first session. And then I was like, I'll just pick up from here. And then lo and behold, now I'm like, I don't know. I'm on the yellow streamer. If anybody's played it and knows where that's at. And yeah, there's been a number of times where, if I'm in the middle of playing and then AJ logs on, it'll be like, whoa, you can't be two places at once. And I'm like, I'm Fred Flintstone. It's very allowed. But no, yeah, it'll be like, you can't do that. But then, so it'll close me out of it. And then you can open it back up and it'll give you like probably a second and a half that you can do something in the game. And then it'll kick you back out again. And so I'll like want to go and play something else. So I'll literally just like 1 second and a half at a time, open it up 20 times in a row just to walk to a save point and save it.
God. Why?
He's trying to play.
Yeah.
It depends on what I'm playing. Well, regardless, message me next time and be like, yo, because if I'm playing Smash Brothers, chances are I'm just going into arenas and just fighting people. Yeah. So I can just open Smash Brothers and play on your account and just use Min. I'm not unlocking Pokemon Trainer. I'm not doing it. Or if I'm playing Paper Mario, I could just go into airplane mode. So just message me.
But yeah, so that's some of what I'm playing. Olivia, what are you playing these days?
Oh man, I'm one of those people who start games and then start another game and then just keep starting games. So like a lot of games. But yesterday I played a bit of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Not super far into it because I keep starting other games. I don't even have my boat yet, but so far I'm loving it.
Nice.
I love it. I love sneaking around. Yes, I am playing on the Switch. I have all the DLC and stuff too. I just need to get around to playing it. But yeah, I love the sneaking. Like in Breath of the Wild, when the Yiga hideout was the only sneaking thing, I was so sad. So I just walk around everywhere, sneaking everywhere. So I'm loving that. It's the full
sneak up on the camp of bokoblins and stuff.
That was I felt like in the DLC for Breath of the Wild, the second one, I've said this on here before, I'm sure, but some people hated the whole the one-hit KO section where you have that whole bit. I loved it because
I
I'm just like
that's
walking
just like
around bopping people. It is all
sneaking.
It was so good.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
And then the Trial of the Sword, a lot of sneaking.
That was so much fun, man. I really enjoyed that. It was fun too because like that's one of those things where I don't know that I'm ever going to go back and do the Trial of the Sword again.
Yeah.
But having like a friend come over and we would just like kind of try it for a while, and some of them were legitimately hard, and especially just with the kind of nature of Zelda, well, not of Zelda in general, but of Breath of the Wild, of like kind of having to manage some of your resources depending on where you are in the game and stuff. But especially in that, like I remember the first time or two getting to the end of the last one with the like couple Lionels and all that. And I was just like, I'm out of stuff. So here we go.
That's so funny. I'm one of those, I like to hoard things, especially in Breath of the Wild. Well, not like in my life, but like in video games. I'm not a hoarder. But so I like was at Ganon and I hadn't used any of my ancient arrows. I'm like, no, I have to save them. And then like, so when I did that, I have like all my ancient arrows. So I was like, oh, I guess I'll just shoot the Lionel. I'll just shoot this, and so I'll shoot this again. Like, it was so funny. I just kept everything.
Yep, that's exactly how I play games. There's a YouTuber called Rasputin who does some really interesting videos. He did a video called Games for Non-Gamers or something like that, like what it's like to be he was like, my wife tried out all these games, is what it was like for her, but he has a video on like hoarding items in games and like how games kind of de-incentivize sometimes you using them. And I'm like, yeah, that's definitely me. And in Paper Mario, I'm trying actively. I'm like, I'm just gonna use items because, like whatever, I might as well, but inevitably I still am not doing it.
Like I had the giant boomerang like early on in the game Breath of the Wild. I never used it because I didn't want it to break. So
I immediately needed that. I threw it at something and then it just was gone. I was just like,
no.
Lost it. Sad. I didn't know how it worked. I was like, is this going to actually come back to me, or is this just like a thing? And then it came back, and then it hit something and ricocheted, and it was just gone. And it was like, oh, I'm not looking for that.
So funny.
What if real life boomerangs worked the way, because like it works, kind of like a real boomerang where you have to catch it and stuff, but then like all the rest of Zelda is just like you throw it and then no matter where you are, it's coming back.
Right.
If real life boomerangs were like that, me as a 10-year-old, I would have been much happier because I've bought a number of boomerangs and
just throw the boomerang and always run away from it. I would be running around in circles. I would throw a boomerang, find a tree, run around in circles around the tree.
I mean, it's pretty much like the Bugs Bunny playing tennis kind of thing is what it felt like. Like, I'm just going to throw it. It came back to me because I ran all the way over there. But
that's true. Or Sonic playing ping pong in the movie.
Yeah, right. Yep. So are you enjoying Black Flag?
Yes. I'm loving it. It's my first Assassin's Creed. I remember watching my dad when I was little. I was like, ooh. And so I saw that was on the Switch. So I was like, yeah, I want that. So I'm really like, and it's got a good story, and that's really important. I play games. I love the story. So yeah.
And which one was it, Parker, that you got?
I played 3, some of. Yeah. I played, I don't remember. I think it's the point where like the twist happens or whatever is about where I stopped, which is, I don't know how far.
What even do you mean? Is it
where like you find out that you've been playing as not the character that you're going to be playing the rest of the game? Yeah. That kind of a thing.
That upset me because that was like, and like I feel like that was a lot of the Wii U era because it was that game, and then eventually Xenoblade Chronicles X that I felt like that, where it's like I want to use the thing on the box, and the game told me no. Xenoblade tells you no for 30 hours, so at least Assassin's Creed doesn't take that long.
Yeah,
but
it didn't take that long, but yeah.
Anywho, I too have been playing Paper Mario. I'm not that far. I'm farther than I usually would be in a game like this, but I'm going back and forth between this and Smash Brothers. But
nice.
We'll talk about
where are you in Paper Mario?
I'm on the Red streamer.
Nice.
So that's the second one. It's the second one.
Is it? I thought the blue one was the second one.
No, the blue one is the first one, or is it it's the other way around? I think.
Oh, okay. Then you're on the.
I'm on the second one, blue or red, one of those. I went to the Red Mountain, so maybe that's the problem.
Oh yeah, that's the blue one, which seems backwards or whatever, but it's very strange. It's been fun. It's like really funny and stuff. I don't know. It's
a fun game. I like because I came in there like I think a lot of people that don't like the game because they're expecting it to be a 1,000-year door. I was about to say Paper Mario, but most Paper Mario games now don't play like that. Like the majority are not like that. But it's just an action adventure game. I don't approach it like it's an RPG. I play it like it's an action adventure game with RPG elements. And coming into it like that honestly makes me like it more.
I mean, the thing I said last week too that I appreciate about it is like when you're going through a story section, the enemies that you beat stay gone until you're done with that story section. And something about that feels almost like it takes the like mind share place of gaining experience, where it's like I achieved a thing from that. It's not just like I beat him and then he came right back. Like, I don't know, if like platformers or something, if you go 2 screens away, you can come back and like, I just jumped on you. Like, don't you understand?
You're supposed to be dead.
Yeah.
Right.
Go on, you're going,
but
dude.
it's a good time. So
It
yeah,
is
I'm
a
playing
great
that.
time.
And then also my wife and I have been playing Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, which I'd played a long time ago. And then, yeah, she decided it would be fun to play. And we're playing Funky Mode. And I have a new appreciation for Funky Mode because like that's a hard game. And so otherwise,
that's why
like,
Bob doesn't like it, because he's bad.
But like, that's so. I mean, I
like
played
that
through
you
the normal
admitted
mode.
to it. I like that you just
Well,
were like, yeah,
so-
he's bad.
Oh no, Bob, you're not bad. That's not what I was saying.
Don't lie to him.
But like, yeah, it's nice to be able to play it. And I think if we're on like 4th world now, and I think if there weren't a funky mode, I probably at this point Ashley would have been like, I'm done. Like there's too many things going on, because it's challenging, but like playing in multiplayer and with funky mode, it makes it to where it's like just an enjoyable time to play through. So it's fun.
It is. It's fun.
So there you go.
It's a great
But
game.
Olivia, you said there's other games that you've started that are
man.
keeping you away from Black Flag. Which ones are those?
I'm playing 4 Zelda games right now.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of the Minish Cap,
Mhm.
Ocarina of Time. I'm playing Breath of the Wild with my mom. She watched me as I played it, so now I'm letting her play,
That's
which is kind of painful to watch.
Oh man, I can
She's
imagine.
like just walking, like looking at the ground. I'm like, you need to see where you're going. There's lots of things out here in this world. It's really important, you know, where you're going.
Yeah.
So, but she's having fun, so that's good. And I've just been really in the mood to play Twilight Princess, and I want my mom to play with me, so I'm making her also do that. So
those games, are you playing those on like OG hardware? Or are you playing them on Wii U? Because you could just straight up play all that
right,
stuff.
we're doing Breath of the Wild on the Wii U.
Okay.
We're playing Twilight Princess on the Wii. I'm playing the Minish Cap on, what is it, the Game Boy? I'm trying to remember what they're all called.
Yeah,
and then,
it's Game Boy Advance.
yeah, and then Ocarina of Time's 3DS. So
Okay.
all different things
Gotcha.
I'm playing them on.
That's so much to juggle. I'm super lazy. So for me, like people on the podcast know this, and Olivia, you'll be ashamed of me, I'm sure. I've yet to play Wind Waker. I stopped playing games right around the GameCube. And then I've said this before here, but I bought at a thrift store, flea market or something. I bought what I thought was going to be Wind Waker, and it turned out it was Zelda Master Quest in there. And I was like, oh, well, guess I'll play this. So yeah. And then at this point, I'm like, I actually have a copy of Wind Waker, but I'm just waiting till it comes to Switch because I'm very lazy and don't want to plug in my GameCube.
Oh
That's
my
so
god.
funny. That was the second Zelda game I played. I got the Wii U just to play that. Because I remember playing Twilight Princess. That was the first one I played.
Mm-hmm.
When someone
First Zelda game you played ever?
Something. Yeah. I didn't know about Zelda until someone let me borrow it. And then when I finished it, I was like, oh, that was so fun. So sad it's over. So I Googled, are there any more Zelda games? And then like there's a whole list. I was like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was like, there is more. There's a lot more. So
oh man, that's so fun.
Yeah.
I'm jealous of that for people like with franchises that I like especially like Pokemon and stuff. Even though I feel like if I learned about Pokemon now, I wouldn't want to do that. Like going backwards for Pokemon feels bad. It's like, oh, dude, like there's so many like quality of life things that they fixed going forward.
And I feel like outside of the National Dex shenanigans or whatever, I feel like they pretty much want to make it so that you can just start wherever you're currently at and keep going with that anyway, as opposed to Zelda obviously is very like, this one's like this and this other game's like that.
Especially now, like with Breath of the Wild, like they're different games, you know, like.
Yeah, they're all different.
Yeah.
It's funny. But it's weird. Like Ocarina of Time is like so important to some people, like their childhood. I'm like, I didn't know about that until I was like 10. I didn't play it till I was like way older. And so when I looked at all of them, I was like, why are the graphics? And I was like a little snob about that. But now like it doesn't even matter. Like it's so funny that I thought that. But yeah, it's how important some games are to people and like how like it's different for me because I didn't grow up with it.
I mean, that's like, yeah, I totally get that because I didn't like really play Super Mario, the first SMB1 or like any of the NES games, because I started on Game Boy and N64 when I was like 8 or something. And yeah, like, so I recently went back and played Super Mario Bros. 1, and I'm like, it's fine. And I understand
how dare you,
what it did for the industry as a whole.
And I'm saying that in honor of Bob, though. Not
I figured as much. Yeah, but like SMB 2 and 3 are like, these are good games. Like, I enjoy playing these. And 1 was like, there is so much where like I understand the groundwork that it laid, but like I don't necessarily feel like playing this outside of the historicity of it, you know?
Right. Yeah.
What did you just say?
The historicity. It's a word.
Okay. All right.
I don't know where, or maybe it's a made up word that somebody I know really well says.
It's a word now.
Yep.
It's a word
But
now.
speaking of Zelda stuff, I'm glad we're playing a lot of games. All that. I'm probably playing. Oh yeah, I'm playing a little bit of Yoshi.
Oh no, I have one more question. So your mom playing Breath of the Wild, does she like? So there's certain things in this game that the game like goes out of its way to not tell you, and just like because it has like cartoon logic and stuff like that. Did any of that stuff just click for her? Where it's like, oh yeah, I have this freaking leaf fan, and I'm on a sailboat. I can blow the air at it, and it'll move. You know, like.
I don't think a lot of that connects. I think it helps that she watched me play it. It's funny, when I got it, I put it in, and she was actually really sick when I started, so she was on the couch, and that's why she started watching me, and it got to a point she wouldn't let me play without her. So she sat there and watched a lot of it. But I also have to explain a lot, like when there's a cutscene with Zelda, and she's like, why does she have a triangle in her hand? That makes no sense. I'm like, oh well, that's a long story. So like I go into it, and because she knows nothing about Zelda beyond what I've told her, what she's seen. So it is kind of funny, like outside perspective, and the fish people, she calls it sometimes. I mean, like it's so funny. But she'll be in the mood, and she's like, I want to play Zelda, Olivia. Like, Zelda, like it means so much to her now, and it's like it makes me so happy. Like she's looking forward to Breath of the Wild too. And I haven't had someone like really share my Zelda love with anyone, because none of my siblings, like, I mean, they never really got into it. I didn't know my friends who played Zelda. I was kind of sad. Now my mom, of all people, likes them. Like, this is great.
That's a win. That's a huge win.
How does, out of curiosity, how does she feel about like that it's not particularly linear and that it's just so open to stuff? Because I know, for reference, my friend Mitch, his girlfriend Catherine, he'll like show her a bunch of games. She loved Mario Odyssey. She had a great time playing that. Like she played some other games, but then when she tried to play Breath of the Wild, she felt like it was just like she was overwhelmed by the number of things to do, which I can get that. So yeah, obviously that hasn't super hindered your mom, but like I don't know, what was that process like?
I think that is actually one of the reasons why it let her enjoy it so much, because she's not really a video game person. And so just being able to do whatever she wants. I mean, most of what she wants to do is pick mushrooms and find beetles off of trees. But just not feeling the need that she has to do something, that like anxiety, like of having to like really like care about something. I mean,
which is funny because the whole like big picture story is like get like murder Ganon as soon as you possibly can.
And she's just picking mushrooms. Like, she's not even worried about that. Like, and the fact that she can do that is great. That it's so not linear. She accidentally found the Goron town. And then she like, okay, I'll go to Unobo, but then she didn't really want to. Then she accidentally found him. And so she decided to help him, and she didn't even know she was going on the Divine Beast. And then she was there. She's like, "Oh wait, we're doing this." And
I even played the game like that. Like that happened with me with the which Divine Beast was it? I don't remember which Divine Beast was. I was just walking, and then somebody accosted me and was like, "Dude, stuff's messed up. You gotta come here." And I'm like,
was it the Zoras? That's how.
That's what.
They were in the river. They're like, "Hey, go talk to Sided." Like,
and the funny thing is, I think that's kind of the way that one, or I thought at least that's the way that one's supposed to be. Is you talk to, you go up the river like the twisting path, and it's like, oh, go over this way.
Yeah, I just wanted the Sheikah Tower.
I went like completely backwards through there because I was doing the whole stealthy thing. I was like, there's a river over there. Probably there's a bunch of enemies, and like I'll just go around them and get them from behind.
Did you play with the UI on? Because that was another part of it for me too. I turned the UI off.
I think so. Most of the time, I think it was kind of half and half, probably. But yeah, What if
I don't even know, outside of like demos and stuff like that, like before the game came out, I don't even when I think of playing Breath of the Wild, the UI, I don't even know what it looks like, you know, like, because I never played it like that outside of the preview event for the Switch.
What happened to me when I was looking for the Master Sword too? I knew it was in the Korok Forest, but I also knew Hestu was in the Korok Forest, and I really wanted to find him again. I needed my inventory expanded, and so I walked in, do the entrance, and you know, literally the sword is right in front of you, the light's shining down on it. I didn't see it. I saw Hestu over there. I went and talked to him, and I could not find it. I went to the Korok Forest like 4 times. I didn't see the sword. I went all the way up the Deku Tree, all the way back down. I did all the shrines there. And I was like, where is the sword? And one day I saw that Korok with like the mushroom on his head. I was like, I haven't seen you before. And I went inside the tree and I was like, where's the sword? And I finally found out. I'm like, oh, it's glowing on this pedestal that's right in front of the entrance. Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
You know, like most of the promo art has it in it.
Right. Yeah. I could not find it.
So it's like the reveal of the logo is like, this is where it's at. You got to go to this place, dude.
Yeah. The light is, yeah, no, I didn't see it.
Yeah. What a great game. And soon we'll have Breath of the Wild 2. And we wanted to talk about some stuff. Well, okay. And less soon than I'd like, but at some point in the future, we'll have Breath of the Wild 2. We wanted to talk about what enemies we would like to see return for Breath of the Wild 2.
It's true. It's true. I came prepared, dude. I had made a document.
I don't know what the best way to do this is, but I guess we just throw some out and then just kind of go from there, you know? Whatever.
All right, I'm just going to eat out the random one that I had that, or the 2 that I have that aren't themed, because the rest of them are themed.
Oh, mine kind of are too, a little bit.
Okay. I have a feeling that we might have a similar theme, but the first 2 have nothing to do with it. I went to Wallmaster, put it in the game.
Oh, okay. That was part of my theme, so go for it.
Okay, that one's not the theme. Just put it in the game. And then ropes, because like, why not? You know?
So here was one thought about ropes. First of all, I didn't know that was an enemy at all. It's a snake kind of thing. And like I've interacted with them in games. Who knew they were called ropes? What a weird name for an enemy. It's like a snake.
If you played freaking Mother 3, like everyone in the US has, you would know ropes or snakes. Every single one. The most popular game.
I think if I remember right, and I don't know for sure, but ropes, when I was looking at them, it showed that they were in only 2D Zelda games. I could be mistaken on that.
I think so, yeah.
I would love to see, and like I haven't looked at.
It's in the original game, A Link to the Past, Link's Awakening. Okay, the 2D. Yep, only 2D games. It's in the TV series though, and the comic books.
So here's what I'm getting at. In any case, is it would be really cool because like I feel like Breath of the Wild was kind of an initiation of, like this is probably the way these Zelda enemies are going to be for a while to come. Maybe not, I don't know, but like I feel like at this point bokoblins have a more set identity than they ever did before, you know, because they've got like personalities now more than just like being random grunts or something. So it'd be interesting to get enemies that have only been in 2D games like ropes or whatever into the 3D world through the Breath of the Wild kind of engine where it's all, you know, more elaborate, and they've got AI
and they can kind of
stuff.
They can go in a lot of different directions, like because there's no set thing of like this is how they behave in 3 dimensions, right?
Right, exactly, yeah.
They could freak.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I mean Zelda does that a lot. I mean, like there's something that's like, you know, pretty set it seems, and then it's like no, it's not set anymore. I
mean, yeah, like the Guardians being the whole like they built Guardians because what is it? Aonuma wanted them to feel like Octoroks felt like in the original game, but it was like, you know, actual Octoroks don't really behave like that. He wanted some like big, you know, big grandiose thing. So like that's, yeah, just the evolution of kind of how those work is just super interesting. Do you have any idea how you'd want ropes to behave? Because
I want them to be freaking terrifying, dude. I want them to be, but like terrifying,
really big rope.
like no, the opposite of that. In fact, where it's like they're freaking small and like hard to see and grass and stuff. So every time you're anywhere near anything that's tall enough for them to hide in, it's terrifying.
That would be.
Yeah.
That reminds me of, like, in Twilight Princess and, like, the Arbiter's grounds, like, the beetles would cover you. That terrified me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just being covered in beetles, or, like, the ghost rats. There's just so many, like, little ones. Like, that is terrifying. I would hate that.
I want it.
Why would you want that?
And then because it would be hilarious. And then because there's like so many, this wasn't on the list, but now I want this because you brought it up, a giant rope. Now it's on my list. I want a freaking, you know, that like mini bosses and stuff. I want a mini boss, gigantic rope. And I want him to also be terrifying and the same like hidden, like I want him to like freaking be camouflage or something. He's like coiled around a tree and then you just get lunged on by this rope.
Yeah,
it'd be sick. It'd be sick. Cool. And the wall master would just be the wall master.
Yeah. Well, so I'll say the wall master thing real fast. So my theme kind of thing is that I feel like from the promotional material we've seen so far, which is literally one trailer, which is
true.
It seems like maybe dungeons of some sort will be coming back. So a lot of the ones that I've got are not even necessarily just dungeons in the traditional like meaning of dungeons, but at least like underground stuff, indoor, like decrepit kinds of, you know, things.
Right.
And so some of mine are more like that. And I feel like wall masters just fit in that kind of an environment. So I didn't even have a ton of thoughts other than they're kind of annoying in reality, but you know, every once in a while it would be fun to have some in there. So
I wouldn't miss them, but if they were in there, I think they could add something, you know, like the fear, like the anxiety, not like bad anxiety, but like that, like, you know, feeling you got to keep
the pressure
going.
Make this game terrifying.
I mean, it's kind of one of those things where like exactly like you said with the Yiga clan, where specifically their, you know, hideout or whatever was just like suddenly kind of a whole new game just because you played it differently. And so I feel like some of that, like there's individual enemies like the wall master that you could just in one specific area, that's the only place he even shows up, which maybe that's like too much development to only, especially the way that they used like bokoblins.
I don't know,
blue,
man.
red,
It's
blah, blah,
Nintendo.
you know.
It's Nintendo. They do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like only 3 people have ever seen this thing, but they spent at least 3 weeks working on it. You know, like that's what it is.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that would be a fun thing to like design just some area around that. But Olivia, what do you think? What's one of your ideas?
Well, I really want it to be dark because I miss the Dark Zelda games. Like Twilight Princess is my first one. Like it terrified me as a 7-year-old, but I want it back. So I think one of the ones that terrified me the most ever was the Redeads. And like Ganon kind of looks like one. And if they were like in the dark caves, like it's dark and they're like hidden in the shadows, and all of a sudden there's one, either they can be fast, they can be slow. Like either one would be terrifying. I think slow would be creepier though.
Yeah.
But,
or it could just be like a freaking zombie game where they're both. There are both.
There are hordes. There's different kinds.
Yeah, it's like different classes. You use a high class Redead, and you just get like the freaking fast one runs up and grabs you, so the slow one can just. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like that seems like the way the Breath of the Wild in general, like a lot of the AI or like a lot of the design is having just different varieties of similar things. So when designing the AI, I don't know if it's possible, but like it seems like you could maybe they have sliders of, you know, speed and like how much it can hear around, like different things where they just tweak some of those to be like, and they're different, you know.
And they're faster now. You didn't expect it because there's only slow ones, but now they're not.
Yeah.
That would be man.
No, those would be super cool. Another kind of like that, the insofar as being like creepy and stuff, the Garayas, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, but specifically I played A Link to the Past for the first time ever fairly recently.
Oh yeah, true.
But those are enemies that like in those, they've been in a bunch of enemies, I mean a bunch of games, but they like mirror your movements and stuff. And they don't do that in all the games, but they do in A Link to the Past. So I think something like that, them coming back, but being like a lot creepier, where they're mirroring your movements, but they've got like personality behind it, where it's like they're watching you the whole time and stuff. In a 3D environment, I feel like that could like step up the, whatever, pick it up a notch, whatever that expression is. Something about notches and doing it and being really fun. I don't know how that'll work exactly in a 3D environment, but like, you know, you could build some puzzles around that where if you can only walk certain places and it moves them and gets them locked behind some walls and those kinds of things. Could be fun.
Or if it is like a dungeon thing, they could just be like part of a boss battle or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, like a puzzle while fighting a boss.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
It would be fun.
I would
So for mine, I think it was, and your Breath of the Wild too, like stuff that you want in there about like them expanding the water end of it.
Yeah.
I want a bunch of freaking water enemies to come back. I want the river Zoras. I want them to be like just like demon versions of the Zoras that we already have. Like they're like corrupted or something. I want that.
Or like they have a split lineage at some point where like yeah. And now these ones are just like feel neglected.
Yeah, now they hate you.
They hate
like
you.
the Yiga clan, you know. Like
it's true. It's
exactly
true.
like
I want that. I want that. I want the big octos from Wind Waker. I want that. Because I want to be able to like swim and then like
all of a sudden there's a giant.
Yeah. It'd be dope.
Yeah. That would be fun to have a water monster with personality. Like the Bokoblins like really do, but like the water monsters, I don't know, like there's like clams and like
it feels so hard to design games well, like underwater stuff, but like Zelda's done it well a number of times. I mean, they also have the water temples, which are notoriously water temples, but you know, like the underwater stuff is decent at least sometimes. But yeah, that's really interesting to think about, like, because we know how to, you know, thinking about the Bokoblins or whatever. It's like, okay, well, we'll just think about some like kind of primitive people and what they would do, like caveman type people, and they would do that. And that's like, that's not too hard to kind of grasp. But thinking about what things would do that live underwater feels a lot more foreign. So like, I have no clue.
We don't know much about the ocean anyway, so like
you know what? F it. We can have water ropes too, dude. Let's make them in the water.
Yeah.
I think you're way too excited about these ropes. I am not feeling these guys being everywhere. Oh my gosh. Big ones and little ones.
Make it all about the ropes, man.
No.
All the
That's
ropes.
the new theme of the game.
Yep. So another, kind of continuing with the thought of like undergroundy sort of things. I had an idea, and this kind of goes back off the like Yiga clan sort of thing, but in a more undergroundy way. So here's a couple. Armos, Dark Nuts, and Iron Knuckles, all of them kind of in the same way that within the Yiga clan, there's, you know, the like little guys with the fast swords, and there's the big guys with the like, that have each of those, the Armos and the Dark Nuts and Iron Knuckles and stuff, be kind of like part of the underground army of some sort, you know, or whatever, that you interact with all of them.
I would like that.
And stuff. And
I really miss Dark Nuts.
Agreed.
They, because you had to like put thought into fighting them, and other Zelda games, like, and it reminds me of like the Lionels in Breath of the Wild. They kind of like a mini boss kind of thing. You have to like pay attention more to their movements and stuff. So I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, I think honestly making a bunch of these, like, I mean, I put the Armos, have it be like, maybe don't have a bunch of them like in a bunch of the other games where it's like, oh, suddenly that, you know, that statue looks a little bit different than the other statues or something. But there's just one Armos, and it's like the mini boss or the boss for this section or whatever, where there's some statues at the end, and then suddenly one of them, as you like turn around and leave the area, one of them stands up like creaks out of its, you know, rock stuff, and then you have to fight it, and that would be fun.
That would be like the unexpected things, like the stone taluses. The Great Block Tower. I was like, there's so many mushrooms here. I don't want them anymore. I don't want them anymore.
Giant.
I would love that.
So yeah, those are some of my ideas on those.
I want Skulltulas back. Skulltulas, like in the caves. I was thinking just like, you know, ginormous spiders, but now he's talking about tiny little ropes. I think that would be terrifying. A horde of tiny little like spiders coming at you.
Wait a minute. Okay, I figured it out. It's a Minish area where it like does the whole, maybe you like do both. So like you get smaller and then get bigger and stuff, like an Ant-Man situation. But so there's one size of ropes or spiders or something like that, but then you grow and shrink in different areas of whatever this place is. So then sometimes they're tiny and there's tons of them, but other times they're just one of them, but it's like that game, the new Xbox game with the garden where you're little. You know the one I'm talking about.
I do.
You
not.
don't? I don't know. They've made some new game. It's
Grounded. That's
Grounded.
What you're talking about.
Yeah. Where it's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, you know.
Yeah.
Or like the Minish thing.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, Skullclothes would be.
I went warships from Wind Waker. I went them too.
Warships?
Yeah, the warships. They're literally ships. Warships. They shoot the cannons at you on Wind Waker.
Yeah, like battleships.
Yeah.
You should really play Wind Waker.
I know.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah, I forgot. I completely forgot. See,
lame.
that's how blasphemous that was. I just assumed that you were talking about.
Yep.
I completely forgot that you're freaking a heathen.
Yeah.
Ugh, gross.
It feels like, so just looking at some screenshots, is the feeling of the warships sort of similar to like when you're being chased by bokoblins on like that are riding horses and stuff like that sort of thing where you're, I don't know, riding along and shit?
Not really, because it's like they shoot cannons at you, so like they can't really like charge you like the bokoblins.
Yeah.
You know, like they can't.
Mm-hmm. So would you want
just
like
warships,
water
man.
travel and stuff as well? Not just like underground water, but like,
Yes.
You like
Or at least just let
scattered
me
pirates.
use like the Zora suit or whatever.
Honestly, that would be a really easy way for, you know, because they've talked about how it's going to be kind of the same Hyrule or something, which still I'm not totally sure what that's going to mean, but they could expand into the water pretty easily.
Yeah.
Because
Like
that's like
Horizon.
Right,
Yeah.
we couldn't even go underwater.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so curious. Another one I've got is Dadongos, because we love Dadongos. They're just fun,
Right.
you know? That's all.
I love them.
They're
Yeah,
cool.
I don't know, giant lizards. I mean, that'd be great. I mean, they don't have to be giant. We've learned that. I mean, they can be tiny Dadongos. I don't know.
I think the fun thing about some of these too, because like another one I've got is Helmesaurus, and I just think it's fun with thinking about Breath of the Wild, and with those specifically, I was thinking like, what are the different ways that you could fight those? Because again, in past games, it's been very scripted of like you either, you know, like you grab their helmet thing and then you hit them, or if you manage to get behind them, you can hit them. But like I feel like in Breath of the Wild, there could be a lot more variations on what you do,
Right.
which is fun.
Yeah, I like finding new ways to do things and in ways that didn't even like intend. That's always
right.
funnest.
That is.
I love that.
Great fun. But yeah.
Another one that I wanted was Bulbins. They were in Twilight Princess. I think, were they just in Twilight Princess? I can't remember. But I just love them so much because they felt so like organized. Like they were a group of monsters, but they like like the Bokoblins are kind of like crazy and stuff, and they do nothing. But like these guys were like they had.
Well,
I don't know. They just felt so like they got.
If that counts.
It kind of does. But I don't know. They just like a smarter enemy, more like militarized almost. But, like, right. And they had like a main guy, like the Bulbin King.
Yeah. So, okay, yeah, I'm just thinking back to Twilight Princess now and looking at these pictures. So, like, the couple ones that are times I'm thinking of when you're like in the carriage, trying to that, or you're chasing after their carriage or something like that.
No, you're taking the carriage to Kakariko.
Okay.
Because you have the Zora Prince who's sick, and they're trying to kill you because that's what they do.
And they successfully killed me a number of times. I'm not gonna lie.
That was a really frustrating part when I first played it.
When you were like 7 and I was 22.
It's probably like it took me actually a while to finish that because, but I don't know.
But yeah, those would be really fun to come back. Yeah, because I think, like you said, like the Bokoblins do feel like, thinking about that, they feel more scattered, especially with like moblins picking up Bokoblins by their feet and tossing them around and stuff. It feels like
you can trick
you guys don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, but like I don't know, these guys like they have a plan.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yo, this is another Wind Waker one that Parker won't understand. So I'm just gonna skip it.
I mean, you should say it for everybody else.
I was going to say the mini blends, like the little freaking imp things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Because we already have, we have moblins and macablins. They're just smaller, and then they freaking have the pitchforks.
Right.
Yeah.
So everything's smaller now. We've learned that.
Apparently so.
That's true. And scarier because they're like little demon people.
They were really annoying. I would hate when I heard their little voices like they're coming. It was scary. I hated it.
I'm down with those coming back. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Some other ones. Okay, so Wolfos. The thing is, people kind of criticize Breath of the Wild for not having that many or that much variety of enemies, which I mean, in some regards I can kind of get, because I think it's accentuated by the fact that the world's so big, and B, some of the enemies have multiple varieties of that same one, like the whole just more difficult, which has always been the case in Zelda stuff. But I think it doesn't also usually take into account the wildlife kind of things and interacting with those, because they're not enemies. Although when you look up the enemies from Breath of the Wild, I don't know if you guys saw this, bees show up on there, which I'm like, I don't know if bees count as an enemy. They hurt you, but so does a bear, and a bear didn't show up on there, and the wolves.
So does the goats.
Yeah, the cuckoos.
When I first landed on Eventide, a goat just ran me over. I was like, this is a good start.
Love it. Yep, that's Eventide for you, man. So yeah, I think the Wolfos would be fun as taking exactly the wolves that we already have, because I loved the wolf mechanic in Breath of the Wild. Of when they're in a pack, they'll attack you, and then when you split them up, they're like,
you're like, bye.
They're like, nope, big no.
Just nope right out of there. But taking those and when it hits midnight, in the same way that the Stalfos come out and stuff, the wolves, some of the wolves in some areas or something, maybe, I don't know, turn into Wolfos and become a little more anthropomorphic and all that.
That would be cool.
Attack you.
Yeah, everything's scary. We just want this game.
Right, we do. I mean,
we're talking about enemies, so yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, but there's freaking moblins and macablins aren't scary. They're stupid.
All right, I got Deku Scrubs on here. So does that
they're not
unscary it a little bit?
Yeah, they're not scary.
They're fun.
They're all right.
And then
Octoroks.
They do. Actually, we kind of already have them in that kit, because we've got the Forest Octoroks.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of, but having a little more personality,
I would take out Octoroks if I could. I just want Octorok extinction. The piano riff that happens with Guardians and the anxiety you feel. I didn't really feel the guards. I felt that when I heard the flying of the rock coming towards me. I was like, no, not the.
And because they're just annoying too. You know that if you sat down and were like, I'm just gonna go kill him now, then it would be fine. But it's always I don't feel like it.
I'm on my horse right now. We're having a nice ride. There's 50 Octoroks.
It's true.
Hanging out. Sure. I've got one more. What do you guys have before we close?
I don't have any more, man. I had one more actually. I don't think I mentioned this one, but it's part of the water thing. Mm-hmm. It's the water Tectites. But there's nothing really special to say about them. Just that they're also aquatic.
Yeah.
So put them in the water.
If they were tiny, that would be really cool.
Or extreme dodge. Yeah.
Just in general, I wish there's more environment specific, things that were just in the desert, but they were just different kinds of little foes and stuff. There was Molduga, that was it, I guess. And I want Pose to come back.
Were they, how different are, because I was trying to remember, how different are Pose from the Wizrobes? I guess they're pretty different, because the Pose, they disappear and then they come back and that sort of thing. Although,
because, the luminous stones, they're in the description, it says some say that they carry the souls of the dead. And there's so many luminous stones under the cave. So it'd be dead souls.
It's
ghosts
I'm
put them in there.
Yeah, more of a theming thing than we need more enemies that act like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm totally, because I think you're right. Like they even like the desert Lizalfos operated differently than like the water ones, where like they'd go underground, you know, in the sand, and the water ones would go in the water. So like I guess that's the same. but yeah, for the most part, it's like
I saw
of.
that. I saw the like light bulb turn on and then turn off.
Yeah.
You're like in the water.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them breathe fire.
That's
It's true. It's true. And they act
spit
different
water.
with the arrows.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. It's just type effectiveness.
Right.
Right.
I want to look at something different, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
No, I totally
Different
feel you.
fighting.
I'm down.
Yep. Yeah, and then, so my last one is Dark Link. Just throw them in there, you know?
Why? I mean, why didn't you just say
He's
that
great.
alongside the other, like the other thing that you said? Like,
Because I said it right now. I don't know.
I'm just waiting.
Because they just do the same thing. He just also mirrors you.
Yeah, except for maybe this
It's
one would
spookier.
be different for some reason.
Right.
They can be the minions in his boss battle dungeon.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, there you go. I'm done with that. So like, yeah, you've got Gorias or whatever. I'm probably saying that real wrong. But then at the end, it's you run into Dark Link and then you get messed up, you know?
Yeah, and then that's like another like, you know, like Nintendo game design thing of like, this is how you fight enemies that know what you're going to do and they're going to do what you do. And you're going to really be tested when you fight yourself, dude.
That would be hard. I feel like, I mean, I don't know. They design level 9 CPUs for Smash Bros. So like designing,
They're not that good. Well, I'm sorry.
I mean, you know, they're good enough with knowing a lot of movesets and stuff.
They're good enough at like showing like this is how you're supposed to play this character.
Yeah, right.
So yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, but I feel like definitely designing Breath of the Wild variety Link or Zelda. I don't know. We didn't think about that.
Boy or girl.
Playable Zelda.
Either one.
Would be more
Dark
complicated
Zelda.
than older ones, but I don't know.
Oh, you don't know about the Boy Zelda meme? We call Link Boy Zelda here.
We do call Link Boy
Boy
Zelda.
Yeah, just to make the internet people mad.
Yeah.
I still a couple of videos I've this week's in specific I put Boy Zelda in description, but having a good
But that's like
chuckle.
that's a meme within a meme.
There's lore behind this.
There is, as with most things.
We have
especially
a lot
on
of
this podcast.
memes with deep lore. Oh, we gotta
Beautiful.
ask her that.
It'll come to it.
It's true.
So yeah, any last thoughts on Breath of the Wild enemies that we went in Breath of the Wild 2?
Just make it scary, put it in water, and
Make it
also
scary and make it
underground.
small.
Mhm.
Yeah, make it small.
Wait a minute, guys. Pause the phone. Yes, make
You
it
can pause
smaller.
phones now.
Pause the phone. Dark Link isn't just Dark Link. I just realized it's
Is
because
he tiny?
Pause the phones. He's very small. Because Zelda is going to be playable. We've just decided.
Which one, boy or girl Zelda?
Girl Zelda is going to be playable.
Okay.
Girl Zelda.
Dark Link isn't going to be just a
Oh,
Dark
it's
Link.
going to be freaking
It's
dark
Link.
dark girl Zelda.
Wait, what? No, it's Dark Boy Zelda. So you're playing as Zelda, and then you got to fight Link, who like got something happened
no,
to him.
I thought you were saying that there was going to be two. I thought you were saying
also
there was
that.
going to be boy and girl Zelda
Could be.
as
So we're
dark.
Zelda and we're fighting Link.
Yeah,
Something
yeah,
happened.
okay,
I get it
right.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Connected the
But
dots.
then, but how would that even? Okay, never mind.
It wouldn't be a like one-to-one kind of thing like it usually is. It's just the idea of Dark Link,
Or maybe
where-
that could be like
Right.
no, it's getting too convoluted. Like this is like scripting
well it
worthy
should.
of like
You could-
this is like have to write down how this enemy
Oh,
functions.
good. You could be like infected with malice or something. And then,
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to happen to the champions. I wanted to fight them as the
Mm.
bosses.
Oh,
Like infected
man.
champions.
I had not
That
They're
even
was
just
thought of
different
that.
versions.
What if
Now I'm
that was
sad.
what if that is how they do like they make dungeons make more sense of them being different? Because like before the whole thing that we were talking about where it's like it makes
Oh,
sense that
yeah.
everything's connected because like freaking Ganon is the one like designer here. He's like, I want my aesthetic to be consistent, dude. I'm all about branding. But they're different people. So like if they have their own like dark dungeons or whatever, right? It could be themed. It could be like, this is the air dungeon because it's freaking fake Falco's dungeon. Like
yeah.
That would work.
Yeah, man.
As long as Prince Sidon comes back, I think we'll all be happy. Yeah. But even if he doesn't come back, Pikmin 3 surely will.
It's true.
And obviously we're going into the next news bit here. Good stuff. I enjoyed that conversation a lot. But yeah, so things happened this week. Pikmin 3 got announced.
Yes.
Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Excuse me. I can't believe.
Yeah, how dare you?
How dare I? I don't know, before going in, I mean, everybody knows the details at this point. You've heard it. It's coming with all the DLC. There's some co-op stuff in there.
Some co-op stuff. You can play the whole thing co-op now.
There's a ton of co-op stuff there. There's a little bit more story bits. And then some other like collectible things and whatnot. And it's very cool. It comes out the day after my birthday, so everybody should be very happy about that.
Everybody buy Parker Pikmin 3. Everyone.
Otherwise, I'm just going to play it through AJ's account. It'll take me so long. Not really. But yeah, what are you guys' thoughts about Pikmin 3 coming out?
I'm down. I said in a tweet that I've been considering playing through this game again on Wii U, and I have, and now I don't have to. So I'll play it again, but on Switch. And then I can be sad whenever the Pikmins get freaking eaten alive when I'm flying off of my ship. That's what have you played Pikmin? Have you played Pikmin?
I actually that's why I'm looking forward to it because it looks so adorable. But I didn't know you kill your little Pikmin.
Yeah, well, you don't do it on purpose. It's like Pikmin management. Yeah, if they get left before you freaking yeet off the planet, they get devoured.
It's wow.
It's rough. And you hear their screams.
I know that going into it.
You hear their screams, and it's sad. It's awful.
It's gonna be darker than Breath of the Wild 2.
It's true, but there's a silver lining. They have fruit, and they look real good, man. They're like high poly fruit.
And in the DLC, pizza. So apparently,
Pikmin 3 is when I knew. I was like, man, this is a next gen game. Look at these fruit. It's like I was like, man, I never saw a dragon fruit look this good.
Groundbreaking.
Groundbreaking indeed. Yeah, I'm excited. I played Pikmin 1. I haven't played Pikmin 2 or Pikmin 3.
I never played Pikmin 1 or 2. I just played Pikmin 3 and that's it. And the mini game in Nintendo Land.
Yeah. One of the thoughts, I was listening to somebody talking about it. I don't remember who. But they were talking about, so in Pikmin 1, you have like 30 days that you need to finish. I could be wrong a little bit about this. Like maybe if you go over 30 days, there's just a penalty. But I want to say
that's how Pikmin 3 works too. For what it's worth.
I want to say that it's like more like you've got to do it within 30 days, otherwise, like you're done, and it'll preset you to somewhere.
All your Pikmins get eaten.
All of them get eaten.
True, all of them. This
hostile planet is gonna take over. But
and it's messed up because it's their planet, man. Like that's messed up.
Oh yeah.
They live a rough life.
They do live a rough life.
So what happened before you came? Because Olimar is not from there. So like before that, it's just a new generation of Pikmin get born and then yeeted out of existence in the same 24 hours. That's messed up. It's messed up.
What a terrible existence.
I know.
No purpose in life. Wow.
Yeah. So it's coming out October 30th. It's going to be a full $60. Yeah, I don't know. There's been some controversy around this. I think it's dumb.
How dare they price a game that literally nobody has played because nobody purchased a Wii U? How dare they price it like a game that nobody has played before? It's blasphemous, dude.
The sarcasm.
Everybody played Pikmin 3. Everybody had a Wii U, and now you're trying to make me pay $60 for it again?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't, they're going to take your Switch away. That's how that works.
It's true.
But yeah,
Mr. Nintendo,
I mean, we've talked to
grabbing my wallet out of my pocket and forcing me to pay $60.
Yoinking $60 straight from it.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool. Olivia, any specific thoughts?
No, I mean, I haven't played them, but I mean, I heard it was coming out, and so I was like, "What is this game?" I mean, I heard of it, but
Yeah.
I think it's something I will play. I think my brothers will like it, so I think I could play that with them. They're always asking to play things with me. So.
It is co-op.
So that'll be perfect.
There's that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep. I think, yeah, for sure. What was I going to say? I don't know. Something. The fact that this was announced on Twitter. So we'll be getting next into the quarter one financials for Nintendo, which everybody knows they're doing great and all that stuff. I realize I'm almost positive, and I think I tweeted this, that the reason they announced this on the 5th or something was because on the 6th all their financials were coming out, and they wanted to have something to put on. They had a slide that says, here's all of our games coming out, and they didn't have, outside of this, any 2020 dates of like games yet to come out that were like, firmly in place. So I was like, I feel like they probably specifically were like, we can announce Pikmin 3. Yeah, we can just do that. So, I remember what I was going to say before is that like, it kind of sucks that we keep knowing all these things ahead of time, because like we've been knowing Pikmin 3 Deluxe is coming for months and months and months and months and months. So when the news happened, I was like, there it is.
When it was still NX, that was like one of the rumored games that was going to come eventually. Yep. They were always like weird about like how it would happen. It's like, is it going to be a trilogy? That sort of thing.
Yeah. Which, and
now people are going to be like, Pikmin 3 Deluxe is Pikmin 4. That's what Miyamoto was talking about.
Oh, goodness. And okay, I guess quick question on that too, before we move into the financials. To you, does this mean that Pikmin 4 is more likely or less likely? I have an opinion, but I'm leaving it up to you.
I think it's more likely, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if this was like them testing the waters. If they're like, all right, man, this is your last chance, Pikmin 4.
Right.
If Pikmin 3 doesn't do well, you're getting deleted. Every bit of development time, it doesn't matter, because Pikmin 3 didn't sell well. But
all the Pikmin's abandoned.
Like
just like on their home planet.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be like a metaphorical thing. It's like like how you guys get eaten alive in your video game. We're gonna have all the source code for this game eaten.
Sad times. But no, I'm with you. I feel like this means Pikmin 4 is more likely, not less. I don't even know. I don't totally know that I understand the point from. I've seen some people being like, well, this means Pikmin 4 is done. I'm like,
people are stupid. That's
I really know. I don't know that I understand why, because I feel like this just means signs of life, that they're like, all right, yeah, we're going to keep doing it. Otherwise, it would be like, there's other games that they left on the Wii U that they're just going to leave on the Wii U, but not this one. So.
Or will they? It seems like they're trying to be like, Wii U's legacy doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be no like exclusive titles on that system. Except the last like Wii U exclusive, which never mind. The last Wii U console exclusive, I guess, is going to be Devil's Third, because there's no way they're porting that.
I know so little about that. I know only what the Scott the Woz video on the Devil's Third. That's it. It's
not a good game.
That's
just
all
a bad game. That's all we need to know.
Yep. So yeah, there's that. And then we got financials for Nintendo, and there's a bunch of numbers.
Hold on, I got one more thing to say. Where the heck is this freaking Wind Waker Deluxe HD?
Honestly, though,
where's that? Twilight Princess 2, I guess. Sure, why not?
I'll take them.
Okay, continue.
Nintendo financial results, blah, blah, blah. As of June 30th, it was almost past the NES. So now more than a month later.
Yeah, it's definitely
past the NES, which is
insane.
Crazy that NES is the second. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like something feels like just cachet wise, something else would have been number 2, but it's not.
With the what's the other thing that it would
like N64 didn't sell as well as I feel like.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But like in my mind, if I was just popping back into the Nintendo conversation,
it's like based on your childhood, rank the cells.
I don't think back to that. I don't think I've seen one.
Oh my god!
I don't think I have. I mean, our first console was like, I don't know, like the Wii. Xbox maybe.
Oh, there's like literally I'm not unplugging it. There's a freaking N64 over here.
Wait, do
Like,
you
off
mean
the
you
top
haven't
of my
seen
head,
an
I can't think of what it
N64 or
looks
you
like.
haven't seen an NES?
And yes.
Okay.
Unless I have,
Oh.
and I don't know what it looks like. Maybe I
Mhm.
do know what it looks like. I just didn't know it's called an NES.
There's two different ones. There's
It
the
looks.
top
I've got a
one.
box, but it's glued up. Well, it's not glued, but it's up there, and I'm not.
It looks like the classic consoles, but big.
Like, all right.
There it is.
Oh, okay,
That's
yeah.
an NES. Oh
Like-
no, getting this back is
like,
gonna be a disaster.
This is like a phone case. Is that similar?
That's looks more like a Game Boy from what I'm seeing, but oh no, the camera's awful now. I shouldn't have done such a thing as that.
I'm sorry you did it for me. I appreciate
It's
it.
right. Such is life. Why is it all blurry? Catch up. Oh well, it'll fix itself.
It'll do it.
It'll
eventually.
come
There you go.
back.
It's doing it. Hey.
Yay.
Did it? Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm not going to go through all these things, but some notable ones to me are that Xenoblade sold 1.32 million units. Clubhouse Games sold 1.03 million units. Animal Crossing is now the #2 Switch game ever at 22.4 million.
That
units.
is
Wow.
that's gross. no, but that's crazy how fast that game sold. And
really
it's
is.
also
It was.
crazy because beforehand it was the thing that's like, I'm telling you people, this game is going to sell like crazy.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, Animal Crossing, there's no way that's going to sell well. I never played that. I'm like, dude, like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And I didn't even know there was going to be a pandemic that forces everybody.
Yeah, I know when I got it, when
Uh-huh.
I was like, "That's what you're excited about?" That looks like a 5-year-old's game. I was like, "Mom, no, I promise, this is great."
We will be able to socialize now.
The economy is so vast.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you play a lot of Animal Crossing, Olivia?
Oh yeah, I hadn't played any of them before. My friends all had, and they're like, "You have to get." And they were talking about it, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Well, I'll get it, and I'll play with you." And I just love it so much. It's so
Yep.
peace.
It's a great
happy,
game. It's a great
and I love
game.
it.
It's
And
true.
Yeah, I play a lot of it.
Yeah.
Really got into the tournament market.
Mm-hmm.
All the experiences I'm getting all in this one game. I love it.
It's so good. But yeah, I wouldn't have guessed 22 million. I mean, like, I figured, I mean, we all knew, especially after the last update, that like it was going to do well, but just not that it would sell almost as many in the second quarter as in its first quarter. Because
I think I would believe
like die out.
I would believe
Yeah.
22 million in a lifetime. Like if
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
was looked at Switch 6 years from now, and that's where Animal Crossing New Horizons will, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like,
But
yeah, that
20
makes sense.
Million in a few months is what? Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
Not even half a year.
It's funny
yeah.
too. I mean, because like it's behind Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is at 26 million, but that like has been bundled with like for $0 extra with a console for 2
Yeah.
Christmases now or 2 holidays now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It was a $300 bundle.
It was
so
no. The first one it was extra, but it was
Oh, gotcha.
like it was 360.
Was it like
or
half
whatever.
off or
And
something? Oh, okay.
It was like
yeah, I wasn't
360.
full.
And then the next holiday after that, it was 300 for the Switch and
Mhm.
for Mario Kart.
Yeah. I mean, also some other things, and like as we're talking about Zelda, Breath of the Wild has now officially surpassed Mario Odyssey by a good, like, less than 1 million, but some
Mhm.
amount. And that's another one that like is just kind of crazy to think that a Zelda is selling more than Mario, just because like that's traditionally not been the case. And
Yeah, and it's
fun.
wild that they're like that. There's been that seesaw, because
Uh-huh.
it's like obviously Breath of the Wild came out first, so
Yeah,
at first
right.
it had more
Yeah.
sales than Odyssey. Then Odyssey passed it, and then
Mhm.
now Zelda passed it. Is Odyssey going to pass it again?
Right.
Like that sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is like every time a new game comes out, there's more of just user base in general to buy games. So
Right.
the initial bump is just going to be bigger a lot of times on like the biggest blockbuster games.
Right.
But yeah, the fact that it caught up past that anyway is.
It might also be a thing of like, which I don't know if Mario Odyssey would have this effect, even if this theoretical thing happens.
Mhm.
But it might also just be people buying Breath of the Wild that haven't played it because Breath of the Wild 2 got announced. But I don't know
Yeah.
if Mario Odyssey is the sort of game that like Nintendo announces on Mario Odyssey 2, and then people are like, I gotta catch up on the story before I play Mario 2.
Yeah.
You know, not really.
I see a lot of people who don't really play Zelda games or aren't like a big Nintendo fan, even like buying it and being introduced to like Zelda games and just Nintendo in general. I don't know. I think just that like wanting to play it from people who don't usually do, I think has helped a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just like it's a different vibe than a lot of other Nintendo games. You know, it's even than other Zelda games, just it being a little bit more serious by nature and stuff. Not that the other ones aren't serious, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just is.
It's more open for to play how you want.
Yeah. And it's the best game there's ever been. Along. There's a whole bunch of other things. We're not going to go into all of them, but some big picture ones are that this is the most, I can't remember, they don't have this on the article that I pulled, but they sold, so there were 5.67 million Switches sold in this quarter one, which I think, if I remember right, it said is more individual like home console units than Nintendo's ever sold, because they made less profit than their biggest quarter one, which was in 2008, but that was between the DS and the Wii.
Yeah, they had two platforms,
right? And so as one platform, this is more than either of those were, something like that, specifically for this April to June period. So like, you know, we'll see what happens Christmas wise. It's a crazy year. It's quarantine 2020. So
it's true. I don't like that. I don't like it being phrased as quarantine 2020, because that implies that there's going to be quarantine 2021. I don't like it. I don't like it. But I also I did a tweet that I got into a little thing. I'm not going to go into that specifically. But I made a tweet
down
talking about, I'll bring it up, but I don't want to like go into like the arguing with the argument sort of thing, right? But I tweeted about how it's crazy that the Switch has 20 million or games that are around 20 million. Smash Brothers.
I mean, Smash, it was at what, 19.99?
It was a month ago.
So
yeah, like it's at 20 million now. But I was like, it's insane that there's 3 first-party exclusive Nintendo Switch games that have sold over or around 20 million units, and PlayStation 4 doesn't have any. If we're limiting it to exclusives, and even beyond exclusives, beyond like third-party multi-platform games, there's one game on PlayStation 4 that has hit that figure, and it's Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah,
like that's crazy. Like that's insane. And then just for context, the little thing that happened that resulted from that, my friend Blessing, who works for Kind of Funny, he retweeted it, and me and Andrew Renee, we were going back and forth about it. So that happened.
Yep, I read some of that. It was a fun
but it's
time.
good. It's good. Yeah. We reached an agreement.
Yeah. The thing, so around that too. So there's now the 9 best-selling games on Switch are over 10 million. Which is cool. And I'm curious, I tweeted this out the other day, but like also, what are your guys' thoughts specifically on what will be the next game that'll hit 10 million? Because like Animal Crossing, for example, it's not like always the next game on the list. Like number 10 is New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, and that's at like 7 million or something like that. I'm very much guessing that before that makes its way, like closes the 3 million gap, there will be some other game that comes out that edges it out, you know, and sells more, if that makes any sense. That was a lot of things, but like, what's the next game going to be?
I definitely that. Well, it depends on timing, because like if Breath of the Wild 2 is indeed close, you know, it'll definitely hit 10 million before U Deluxe does. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe will. So I think it definitely will be something new. I can't see that game hitting 10 million soon. I think lifetime it might. It might even exceed that.
Yeah.
Just given by the history of the new Super Mario Bros. Games. But yeah, it's going to be like a new game. Maybe whatever their holiday thing is this year.
Pikmin 3, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has to be a new game.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, nothing big seems to be coming. That would surprising.
Yeah.
What's their? So they have. Oh, if freaking new Pokemon Snap is close, maybe that. Maybe that's the next one.
That's a good question, man. I'm excited for that game, but I have no reference point for like what it'll actually sell when it comes, when it comes down to it. It'll sell great.
It'll at least do like Pokemon Let's Go territory, I think.
Yeah. That seems reasonable. Yeah, that could be. So I'm guessing either that, now that you mention it. I don't think like Paper Mario is out and would have been numbers since that, but that's going to get up to less than
that
10
doesn't
million
seem
lifetime.
like
I think like
10
6
million
million lifetime, something like that,
Right, somewhere around there.
But yeah, I mean, maybe like 3D World Collection, or not 3D World Collection, but if they do the like Super Mario 64.
Oh yeah, true.
All-Stars
if they do those remasters,
yeah.
If they do the remasters, since they're rumored to happen soon, and we don't exactly know Snap, then I think that will be next.
People want those so bad. I think that will be easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you big into Mario at all, Olivia?
Not super big into it. It's funny. I first played my first one. It was like the Super Mario Galaxy. Because I wanted to unlock Rosalina on Mario Kart. So that's how I started playing Mario. But I like it. I'm not super into it.
Wait, is that how you unlock? You unlock it by playing Galaxy?
You have to start a save file. Or you get like gold in like mirror mode in one of the races. And I could never do that. So I went to the library and got Rosalina.
There you go.
And then I had all my characters.
Yep. I did one of those two. I don't know which one, because that's funny. I do not remember that. I guess at that point I already had a save for Galaxy, so that's really funny. Yeah, good old Mario.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. Any last thoughts on the financials and any of that stuff? Okay, actually, I do have one before things. I don't think this is gonna happen, but this is. I mean, Nintendo's. They're doing great. All things considered, they're not like fans aren't like the happiest ever because we haven't heard much of anything that's going on. But as far as like them and just numbers and sales are concerned, they're doing awesome.
They're doing great. Yeah.
I don't really worry. Like, I don't think this is going to happen, but just to put it out there, how like after the PlayStation 2, Sony was like, we're untouchable. We can do whatever we want. And after the Xbox 360, Microsoft's like, y'all, we've got this covered. That kind of a thing. I think they've learned the lesson from the Wii U.
Hear me out. PlayStation's kind of currently doing it.
Oh, 100%.
They're currently doing it.
Yeah. So I think like the market leader kind of oftentimes seems to, think they're untouchable. And I think they learned their lesson from the Wii U and seeing that didn't work with going from the Wii into the Wii U and think blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I still hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Just don't let them sit back and like, gotcha.
You can just put out one Animal Crossing game and then people will eat it up and that's it.
For 2 years. It'll be great.
I think they're kind of in a different place where it doesn't feel like they have this attitude where it's like, I will not put anything out and we'll be fine. I think it's more so we can't put this out because it's not as good as we want it to be, or we're not sure it'll be done around that time and stuff like that. I think that Nintendo cares a lot. Like, I think that it really bothers them when they have to do things like with Metroid Prime 4, where they announce that and have to keep delaying it, or they delayed it the first time for a really long time.
And then people keep complaining about it.
Exactly.
Like, I'd rather have it be really good than just we made it really fast for you. You're welcome.
Exactly.
I don't want that.
And I think that's why they're scared now to then announce stuff, especially now during the pandemic and all that stuff, to be like, hey,
during the what?
We're making
since when?
Oh my God. Like, hey man, we're freaking making Mario 64 too, and it's coming out in December. And then they're like, wait, dude, we're getting put it out on lockdown within lockdown. Can't work games now everybody has to stay within their individual rooms, and if you share a room with somebody else, you got to be in one corner and the other person has to be in the other corner. Then that's going to be locked down too, and we're not going to have any more games in 2021. That's quarantine 2021.
There it is.
Then I can finish all the games I started at least.
Hey, look at that. There's an upside to everything. I am excited. Like, whenever I finish Paper Mario, I've got a big backlog that I'm kind of trying to work through, but like, it'll be nice to. There's nothing coming out now till the day after my birthday, so Look at that. But what is already out, and this is the last news bit, and then we'll move into the other sections, is Smash Update 8.1. I don't feel like talking about this for super long, but AJ, you Smash.
I do.
You play that game.
I do indeed.
Do you care about Small Battlefield?
Moderately. It could
Cool.
do some dumb crap with Ivysaur because of how low the platforms are. And they did some nerdy stuff, you know, they doubled the tick rate, so online is supposedly going to be better, but it doesn't really, you know, it's still not great. So yeah,
There it is.
Man.
There's your Smash know-how 2020.
It's true, dude.
So yeah, there's that. That's the news for this week, and then we'll move into the next section. So this is, we each make a video every week. You guys write some comments, and then we kind of chat about some of your comments. Let's do it.
Yeah,
AJ,
it's true.
You made a video.
I did make a video. I made a video because Sony made me Sony and Marvel, I guess, made me very upset. I pivoted, dude. I was going to make a video because you and Max made me upset. No, I'm joking. But I was going to make a video about what you guys talked about last week because there was like a lot of like, well, AJ thinks this, that was going in that. And I was like, I don't know if it's like that cut and dry of like how I feel about this or whatever, the situation. And then
about
Sony announced
that, are you waiting to say?
I'm probably still gonna make the video.
Okay, just tell me afterwards.
but yeah, so I was gonna make that video, and then Sony announced that Spider-Man is going to be exclusive to PlayStation in the Marvel Avengers game, and I was like, that's dumb. And then I made a video about exclusives and how Nintendo played a part in that, and why I think sometimes it's good, other times it's like somewhere in the middle, and other times it just plain sucks and is predatory and gross. So that was that video. And
for a little bit extra information for me, did Xbox and PC, do they have exclusivity to Hawkeye? Is that a thing?
No. The only ones that have any exclusivity to anything is just PlayStation.
Spider-Man and PlayStation.
Yep. And the thing, like, people looking at the title of the video and like reading the tweet or whatever it was, right? They automatically assume that it was a thing of like, well, I want to play this on my Xbox or PC or whatever, or I'm mad at PlayStation. I had this game pre-ordered on PlayStation. I canceled the PlayStation pre-order because of this, and it's just on the principle of that. That's gross. Like that's so gross for them to do that. Like to wall off content that like you didn't even make. And the defense that a lot of people are trying to make are like, well, freaking Boy Zelda was exclusive in Soul Calibur on the GameCube, and it's like, yeah, because Nintendo made Zelda, you know, so it's only right that they put their character in their version of a game on their platform. But Sony just threw money at Marvel and said, dude, we want to stay in bed with Spider-Man, so here's some money, you know, and that's gross. Gross, dude. It's gross.
So there it is. Here's people said things such as, I don't know, maybe a little bit something like what Shown 313 Games said. It's not Sony's fault that Microsoft didn't get any exclusive content. Microsoft is going a totally different direction to Sony. Instead of crying, how about y'all tell Phil to grow some balls and get more aggressive? Yeah.
Again, it has nothing to do with who got what. If this was reversed, or if they both did it, I would still be annoyed. I would still be like, this is dumb.
I feel like if they both did it,
also they couldn't have both did it, because this is like a Destiny sort of deal where they with Destiny, how it's like they get content first on PlayStation and that sort of thing. It's like a marketing deal so that people, like, the reason why they do this is because even though it's a multi-platform game, the mind share is like, this is a PlayStation game, because why wouldn't I want the content a month early or whatever it is, right? So if Phil Spencer was like, give us content, Square Enix would be like, well, I'm sorry, dude, they already got the exclusive. You know, like, they can't really do that. And also, again, I want to reiterate, if freaking Phil did grow some balls and pay them money, I would be upset at Phil too.
I feel like if it had been something that from Square Enix's side, they were like, we're going to do an exclusive on each on each platform, I would feel less bad about it. But at the same time, it's kind of apples and oranges, because like I don't know who you'd get that's not Spider-Man that has kind of the same.
There's literally no Spider-Man level. Like maybe now because of the MCU, like Iron Man, maybe.
But Iron Man's already, like outside.
Exactly.
Of the ones that are already in it,
right?
Spider-Man.
Exactly. There's nobody. There's nobody on par with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
To put exclusive.
Yep.
So, it's big.
Olivia, do you have any opinions on this situation?
And not even necessarily.
I wasn't even aware of it. He seems so upset. I feel so bad. I didn't even know.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. But not even because the video's not like the majority of the video is about the practice of exclusives.
Right.
This happening more so contextualizes why I want to talk about it now, because it's a current thing that's happening of them being like, here's this stupid exclusive deal or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and it is, I mean, like, it's another one of those things where it makes sense. And so this is part of the video too, was saying that like, a lot of people associate Spider-Man with Sony because of they own the movie rights for it, and because they make the games on PlayStation with Insomniac and stuff. But both of those being things that they bought the rights for and they funded fully is different than like where Spider-Man can have a game, as long as Marvel gives the okay, there could be a Spider-Man game of some sort, I guess. I wonder if they have.
No, but that's the thing.
Have the
that's
rights
the thing.
to.
That's people buying into the marketing, because they don't have video game rights. They
have rights for that video game.
They just have, exactly, the Insomniac world, and that happened after the fact. That's a deal that they got for that version of the game,
right?
And people think that because that game exists, and because of the MCU thing, that it's like, oh, well, obviously that means that they have exclusive rights to Spider-Man, but that's very clearly not true, because Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3 exists, right? And it doesn't have any Sony copyrights in it. It's not a PlayStation multiplat,
Yeah. So next comment, this is from Teen Kitsune, who says, I'm not sure what to think. I've seen two videos on this, one for each side. Jim Serling's latest video detailed how this is a problem in gaming and with capitalism as a whole, while Sean Long on his channel RGT85 argued why it's not a big deal in his latest video. Both make good points. I'm not against console exclusive characters in theory. I grew up on the GameCube, and quite a few multiplats had console exclusive guest characters. Soul Calibur 2 had an exclusive guest fighter for each platform, though admittedly the PS2 and Xbox versions could have done better. The GameCube versions of NBA Street Volume 3 and SSX On Tour featured Mario guest characters, and Fight Night Round 2 featured Little Mac's Super Punch-Out incarnation as a guest character that could be unlocked via beating Super Punch-Out, which was also included as a bonus on the GameCube version. A 7th gen example is the PS3 version of Mortal Kombat 9, featuring Kratos from God of War as a console-exclusive guest fighter, and even more recently, the PS4 and Xbox and Xbone versions of Shovel Knight featured Kratos and the Battletoads, respectively, as console-exclusive guest characters. All these examples never bothered me. In fact, some of them I've been able to enjoy myself. So in theory, I'm not against this idea, but this has me questioning and seeing both sides.
This is exactly the sort of thing that I was just talking about earlier, where it's like, I have no problem with this, because all of these things are multi-platform games or third-party games injecting the characters that are already exclusive to the platform that they're releasing on. So like Kratos being in Shovel Knight only on PlayStation makes sense, because Kratos is only on PlayStation. But when you say this like icon, like top 10 most iconic characters in media period is exclusive to Sony's platform.
Wait, I'm in Sony's platform?
Oh my God, shut up.
I'm not one of the most iconic characters ever. What are you talking about?
No, dude. There needs to be a Peter involved. You're just half of it. You're
so
half.
Close.
So like it's just, and even if it was a character that didn't matter, it still is like, that's not yours. So it's not the same thing as putting Boy Zelda in Soul Calibur, because Nintendo made Boy Zelda.
Yeah. I guess it's hard to extract, because it's not like there's levels of all of this kind of thing too. Because I'm trying to think of other examples of like Dragon Quest XI S on the Switch. Well, Nintendo published and paid for all of the extra stuff, right?
Right. And also, I think they're porting that.
They are. It's coming to Xbox One. So, to PlayStation as well.
I think it's coming to Xbox. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know it's coming. It's coming to Xbox One.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was on the. It was on something that I watched.
I didn't even know that. I just knew it was coming to PlayStation or whatever.
Yeah,
but
maybe
yeah,
that's I don't know. It's interesting. But yeah, I feel like it's one of those things that it could be easy to, maybe it's a slippery slope in some regards. And it is kind of like grimy if I'm I don't own an Xbox, but if I'm an Xbox owner or something like that, then it's like, well, I just
for the record
don't really want to get this version now, even though like I kind of would rather play it here because it's like my friends also have this or something like that. It's, it means that now you have to go elsewhere to get it. But if we're super used to the practice, then we don't really think about it as much, I guess, but that doesn't make it any better.
But I think and that's why I think a lot of people, and you see it in the comments where it's like, well, it's always been like this. So
yeah, right, exactly.
And I'm more like, yeah, it's always been like this, and it's always been gross.
Yep. Last comment, this is from Grimhane, said, okay, in terms of a company like Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft locking an exclusive character to a game when they have nothing to do with the character or the game, I'm with you. It shouldn't be a practice that we keep going just because it's been done in the past. Example, Soul Calibur, which had console exclusives that were not owned in any form by the console company. They simply have no stake. They simply have no stake in the success or image of the character and are only banking on the popularity of the character to sell their console versions of the game and hope this also pushes customers further into the ecosystem of that console. After all, the more PlayStation games you want to get because of wherever factors, the more likely you are to get a PlayStation. Same for Xbox and Nintendo. Oh, after all. I read that as like, after all, the more. But after all, the more PlayStation games, blah, 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 blah. However, I'd argue that Sony has instead invested in the popularity of Spider-Man as a video game franchise, even without owning the rights to his games. The Sony Spider-Man game was insanely popular, not only on the back of Spider-Man's popularity, but also on how good a game it was. And while I agree the chances of someone who isn't a fan of Spider-Man picking up the games are less than a fan, it didn't happen, or it did happen. Further, just being a fan wouldn't be good enough to drive the sales that we saw for Spider-Man. It also had to be a solid game with good gameplay, good content, etc., which is Sony's responsibility. Additionally, it can be argued that the Marvel's Avengers game was much closer ties to the Marvel Cinematic Universe than Marvel's Ultimate Alliance game does. After all, there are numerous characters in Marvel Ultimate Alliance that don't appear in the MCU to date. Additionally, the Spider-Man we get in Marvel Ultimate Alliance is closer to the comic Spider-Man than the cinematic Spider-Man, while the reverse is true for the Spider-Man we appear to be getting in the Marvel's Avengers game. I would argue that Sony securing exclusivity for Spider-Man and Marvel Avenger is them protecting their IP so that the public doesn't just associate Spider-Man with the MCU and by extension Disney, but instead associates that version of Spider-Man with Sony. I definitely see that point. I mean, that doesn't, I think Grimhane would say too. I don't know that makes it right, but I get it.
I think this would make sense if this was Sony's version of Spider-Man, but it's not. Mm. It's not the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man. It's just Spider-Man, like this doesn't take place in the same universe as that game, as far as I know. Yeah. It's just, Spider-Man's in this game, and it's also on PlayStation, just like Spider-Man in the in Marvel Ultimate Alliance is just the comic, or like a weird like fusion of the two, because they take inspiration from all aspects of Marvel and Marvel's Ultimate Alliance. Also, Marvel's Avengers also has characters that aren't in the movies, like Miss Marvel's not in the MCU, but she's in this game. So
that is weird.
I don't know. I think it's a gross practice. I don't think there's really any defending it. I think Spider-Man, Sony invested in the popularity of their game. Spider-Man, like, it didn't add any like cachet to Spider-Man as a video game character or anything like that, because then that would inadvertently boost the sales of Marvel's Ultimate Alliance. If anything, they both benefited from the MCU, and I think that that's just the long and short of it. So I don't know. I think that it's big gross. I'm not okay with it.
Good closing thoughts. There it is. Any last thoughts, Olivia, otherwise?
I mean, that does kind of sound weird. I mean, I didn't know about it, but like that, I can see the point of that. So I'm sorry you feel so gross about it.
No problem. No problem.
For sure. And then some comments on my video. These are a lot shorter, so it should be, that.
Sure.
Video in general was I interviewed my godson, which was a great time for part of the video, but talked about the NES and SNES classics and how Nintendo needs to do more of those, like Game Boy Classic, maybe N64 Classic if they can, et cetera, et cetera. But at least bringing back the NES and SNES Classic so as to like introduce new kids or like families are like, I remember those. And so they can pick them up and bring their kids into the fold and, have something where it's easy, like pick up and play kind of stuff. And not like, maybe you don't have $300 for a Switch and $20 for the Nintendo Switch Online to learn about A Link to the Past, but you can just pick it up on the SNES Classic and play it. That was the thesis in any case. Spaceman Spiff, which first of all, I appreciate the Calvin and Hobbes reference. So there you go. There's that. Said, I would pay $150 for a GameCube Classic, and that's coming from a poor college student.
My question is, with the game, so I feel like they have to have, with the GameCube and N64 Classic, these theoretical things, having 4 controllers.
I feel like you bundle 2 and
support 4.
Yeah.
How much would the controllers be though?
Yep.
That's the question. How much would they be?
I mean, how much are the standalone? I think a standalone NES Classic.
Yeah, but I think they would charge more than that.
It would be more than that. Yeah. But I want to say you can get it for $10. Pretty sure.
Probably somewhere around there. So, I don't even know if you can buy them anymore, honestly. Well, any like first party ones. There's probably third party generic ones.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
The Switches are like 80 when they get new ones.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, you can't even buy the because they had the ones that came with the Nintendo Switch Online,
has them
right?
used.
Oh,
GameStop has them used for $10. They're on. Oh no, this is a controller. On Amazon, they have the NES Classic controllers for $27.95.
Oof. I feel like that's got to be like markups
from
third
probably
parties.
Markup.
Man.
Yeah, this is definitely marked up.
Yeah.
Because this isn't even prime shipping.
Yeah. So next comment from Everett Quarter said, I love the point you made about his dad spending money because it was a way for him to spend time with his kids. That was I was saying my friend whose godson I interviewed, or whose son I interviewed. Yeah.
Whose son who is your godson.
Yeah. He's like, I've been trying to sell him on a Switch for years now. Like since it came out, I'm like, Chris, Switch is great. That is all. And he's been like, I know, but I don't know. I don't have time, or like, all sorts of things, which totally makes sense. But then now that he's actually like playing games with his son on a regular basis, and it's like part of father-son bonding time kinds of things, and like part of family time, he's like, I really want one for Christmas as like a family gift or whatever. And so hopefully that'll happen. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where like, if done right, it can bring families together and like into the future generations. Then Asher will grow up and he'll be like showing his kids Nintendo stuff. Or something.
Yeah, he'll show them the Nintendo Switch Classic.
And yeah. Yes, please. So that stuff. The next comment was, so in regards to an N64 Classic, Mitch Coda said, I think Nintendo should release the N64 Classic Edition and it should include one controller and the price should be $80. And I made a game list of 20 games that should be on the N64 Classic, and they are 1080 Snowboarding, Donkey Kong 64, Dr. Mario 64, F-Zero X, Kirby, The Crystal Shards, Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, Mario Golf, Mario Kart 64, Mario Party 2, Mario Party 2, Mario Party 3, Mario Tennis, Mischief Makers, Paper Mario, Pilot Wings, Star Fox, Super Mario 64, Super Smash Brothers, and Yoshi Story. I love the inclusion of Mischief Makers in here because number one, no clue what it is. But also, I don't think that's a first-party game.
They had to throw one in there.
Oh, publisher Nintendo, as well as Treasure, Square Enix, and stuff. Okay, so it could count. But I was gonna say, like, that would be my Extreme G or something, like a game that I'm like, I love this game. Nobody else cared about it, but it was fun. So like throw it on there.
But I loved it.
Yeah, it's just.
It would be very strange if they only bundle one controller, especially with these games. Like here's Smash Brothers, one controller though. Like what? Like that's crazy.
But I think, I mean, I replied to this comment too, and I feel like, especially on the N64, there's so many first-party games that like are icon. There's a couple of third-party games that are very iconic of it, like GoldenEye, and I almost said Golden Sun, GoldenEye, and Banjo-Kazooie.
Like, that's not true
like
on
that.
2 levels.
But like, I feel like they could make a perfectly fine first-party lineup, which would save them money on licensing, which would mean that they could spend more money on the hardware to be able to. It would probably be $100, but come with 2 controllers. But
yeah.
And the last comment is Gliger Guy says, considering they can't keep up with Switch stock, I don't think making new hardware is anywhere near their to-do list now.
Fair.
Which is true.
Sad but true.
Yeah.
F in the chat.
F in the chat. Okay, so now we're on to the final segment. We've got Q&A. And so this is for everybody. Some of these are directed specifically at you, Olivia. So get prepared.
I'm prepared.
We got a bunch of Zelda ones, so that'll be good too. But yeah, you guys can ask us questions all sorts of places, and we like to answer them. First, from YouTube community, Ringular says, why Zelda Friend Zone Link?
I think they're talking about the GIF. I think.
Oh, maybe. I
don't know. I just picked a GIF, dude. I looked up Zelda GIF, and I was like, this one looks fun.
Was that one like that? I was just thinking they meant in general that, like, you know.
Oh,
in a theoretical world.
Okay, why does?
Yes.
There's an important word missing. I thought they were like.
Wow.
Okay, gotcha.
What do you guys think?
In general,
are Zelda and Link in love? Are they platonic? Is it something else?
It depends. I think it's different.
Which game?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it differs by game.
Depends.
And in which one are they friends? Is she specifically friend zoning then? So which one? Okay,
I don't know.
Olivia, you know the most things.
The friend zone term it's very strange. It's very weird. IMO.
Right.
I mean, I think that also implies romantic interest from him that she doesn't reciprocate, which I don't know that that's always the case either.
It feels more like it's like it would be like the anime thing where it's the reverse, right? Where he's like so like consumed with like I want to be strong and like save the world and and I don't even think about love, man. It's like Goku and Chi-Chi where she's like, let's get married, and he's like, is that food? Like he doesn't even know what a wedding is.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever a Link once.
Yeah.
And I mean, like Wind Waker, you played that, Parker. I mean, I don't see a relationship between them at all, like in that way at all. I mean, they're also kind of young, but
they kind of don't even. They don't. I mean, they don't really interact that much in Wind Waker. I mean, Wind Waker.
She's kind of salty towards him most of the game anyway. Like, she doesn't really like him. And Twilight Princess, you don't have much of a relationship between them at all. Skyward Sword, definitely.
Yeah.
I see it so much.
And then this one, like Breath of the Wild, is also kind of like, will they?
I think it depends.
Yeah,
I think it's
ambiguous.
Really up in the air. Especially with the whole Mifa thing. Like,
yeah.
I'm not sure what, like, if did he like Mifa too? Like, we don't know. Really.
It would be interesting to throw another guy into the mix as well, because like at this point, it seems like it's always. I mean, you're playing as Link, so you know that kind of thing.
Right,
but, like,
there's always girls.
Yeah, but like as far as for Zelda, like what would happen if some of the? I mean, even just like
what if she likes the prince, dude? What if she likes the prince? That would make it even worse. That would make it worse. It's like you like freaking Zora. Now it's my turn, dude.
Yeah. Oh man! Then would Link suddenly be jealous, and then
Oof.
Who knows? But yeah, I don't know that she friend zones him that much.
Right.
Now, if we're talking Peach in Mario Odyssey,
100%. She friend zones everybody. She curved Mario and Bowser. I was like, wow, that's
rough. Yep.
That's crazy.
Cool asked, since Nintendo recently released their latest sales figures, what are you guys' hopes and expectations for total Switches sold by the end of its life cycle? And also, do you think Breath of the Wild could reach 20 million by the time the sequel comes out? And do you think the sequel can outsell it? Oh, and also, how do you guys feel about Pikmin 3 Deluxe? We already kind of talked about Pikmin 3 Deluxe, so.
That's true. I don't know if I have hopes because I don't have stock in Nintendo. But as much as it takes for them to be like, this is the concept that we need to stick with, and we need to make the switch or the swap. We need to make the Nintendo swap. That's another channel specific meme.
Lord joke.
Yeah, TM. That's us.
Yeah, we just gotta make the Nintendo swap a better Switch, and that's it. You know, instead of being like, well, let's do something wacky. You know, or even go in the other direction. All right, it's our turn to do PC number 3, but in a smaller box, you know. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of hope it did just because I want everyone to play Breath of the Wild. I want to convert everyone to it. So.
Well, yeah, as far as Breath of the Wild goes, like that part of it, the 20 million, I think so. Yeah. I think it'll.
I mean, yeah, especially because like probably, unfortunately, the sequel is going to come out not this year, so we've got a whole holiday season.
You don't know, man. It could come out December 31st.
Oh man, I would be thrilled. I don't care. December 31st is perfect. But yeah, assuming it doesn't come out this year. Assuming it doesn't come out this year, definitely Breath of the Wild would hit 20 million by then, and especially, I mean, if they have like,
I think even if it does come out this year, I think it could still sell 20 million.
Yeah.
Especially if they're like, player's choice now, $20 off. Buy Breath of the Wild.
Yep. Yeah. Do you think the sequel can outsell it? I doubt it.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
How do you outsell the second game?
Yeah.
I haven't played the first game. Right. How do you?
Right. Yeah, I think that's the thing. Is like it'll sell a lot faster because people will be like, I now finally have a Switch.
This is a proven thing. And like, you know, like it'll be, you know how in Japan it's always like they don't really buy Zelda games anywhere near as much as people do here. Now they'll be like, oh, this is the one that we like though. We're gonna buy it. You know, gonna sell. I think it might even sell better in Japan specifically. But here I think a lot of people are gonna be like, you know, I liked it fine, but or just like, I didn't play the first one, so you know.
Yeah, I mean, as
it'll be
an easy example.
3 or 4
looking at, we keep starting at the same time.
Yeah, just go.
As an easy example, looking at like Super Mario Galaxy, I feel like is a good because that one doesn't even like Galaxy 2 isn't. It's built on mechanics of Galaxy 1, but story-wise, it's like whatever. You know, they're independent things, but they're sequels of one another. But Super Mario Galaxy 1 sold 12.8 million. Super Mario Galaxy 2 sold 7.4 million. So, like, I don't know, just in general, especially with, I feel like that builds a pretty good framework of like, that's the kind of thing we'd expect to see. Like, it'll do well, but not, you know, quite hit the same numbers. And all considered, by the end of life cycle for Switch, I think probably it'll be like the Wii where depends on what the sequel, what comes after it, but probably they'll still have the Switch itself on store shelves for a while unless it behooves them not to, which I don't know. We'll see. Also, I use the word behooves, so that's funny. But I'm definitely above. I think it's gonna. I mean, more than the Wii for sure.
Yeah,
which is the most.
It's going to pass 100 million, I think, for sure.
So
it feels more popular.
What they should do and how it's going to like this is like beating PlayStation 2 levels of stuff. Even when the swap comes out, dude, just drop it to $100. Buy a Nintendo Switch for $100 and a Switch Lite for like $75.
Man alive. Yeah, that would be something crazy.
That'd be great.
So there's that. Now questions from Twitter. We got some from John Francis, who specifically for me and AJ first, and then one for Olivia. For me and AJ, best and worst things about being content creators. I mean, that applies to all of us, though.
Yeah.
So I don't know, best and worst things.
Okay, best thing. I don't know. It gives me a reason to create every week. You know, like it forces me to almost, right?
Yeah.
And I like having a reason to do that. Worst thing, also that sometimes.
True.
Especially now when there's like it's hard to do it in a way that's like manageable because there's not always something that's like, well, we know this is going to happen, so I'm going to talk about this, or this just happened, I'm going to talk. So a lot of times I'm like down to the wire of like, what do I want to talk about? And then what happened this week happens, where I was like, all right, this is my like worst case scenario idea for my topic. So I'm going to like prepare a little bit of it. And then the Spider-Man thing happens and I write like a fourth of one video and I have to yeet that one out of here and then completely start from scratch the day of, or the day before the video is supposed to go out. So yeah, that's my best.
Yep.
That's hard.
Yeah. What about for you as like writing content and stuff on Zelda Universe? And
right. I think the thing that I love so much about it is just writing something and then people reading it, and like people are reading what I wrote, like what I said, and like they care, and like I love when they comment. That's my favorite thing. I love to know like that they read it and that they're like interacting with it. That's my favorite thing.
Because it feels like that's less common on articles than it is like YouTube videos. People are pretty used to commenting, I feel like, but it seems like on articles that's not like part of
they must have liked it enough to say something about it, and there's more than one, or like a conversation. I'm like, yay.
It's great.
It makes me feel so happy. The worst thing, I think just for me, when I read over it, and I read over it so many times, I feel like the article has lost meaning. Like the words don't even make sense anymore. And so like, I don't know if it's like, is this good? Is this, you know, and I want to like, you know, I feel like I'm part of a team. And so I don't want to let the team down. And that's that little pressure, I guess. I just, you know, I want to help, I want to contribute, and I want to do it well. And so just that little pressure to make sure that I do it good and well can be hard sometimes, but it's not too bad.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel that as far, like there's times where I'm writing a script, I'm like, haven't even finished it to where I'm like rereading and stuff. I'm just halfway through. I'm like, man, no one's going to enjoy this.
Right. That feeling sucks.
Yeah.
And then you revise all of it.
And I talked about it on the podcast a couple of times, I think, where it's like a lot of times I'll be making a video and I'm like, this video is not interesting. All this stuff is super obvious. Everybody knows all of this crap, dude. Everybody knew this their whole entire lives.
You know? And then you'll get to the comments and everybody's like, wow, crazy
informative. I never knew that. And I'm like, what? How?
I love that.
Yep. Yeah, I think for me, one of the best parts is just like, I would talk to Mitch or something, who's a coworker, a friend of mine, that we sit right next to each other at work and stuff. We've been friends in college. And I'll talk to him about Nintendo stuff or whatever. And like he plays Switch games, but is like just not as involved in the conversation or anything. So a lot of times it felt like I was just talking at him. And so I'd just be like, I'm just going to shut up now. Like, I feel like I'm bothering you probably. And like, he was like, no, you're good, man. But I'm like, So it's fun in this to have like reciprocative, I don't know if that's a word.
That's another new word.
I'm looking it up. But it's fun to have like collaborative conversations in any case where it's like, I'm throwing out ideas and someone's like, well, I don't know about that. You know, like who, like in what other community are you like, this company sold this many, this thing. And it's like,
and then
okay,
like, I don't know about that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Reciprocative. Wow, I spelled it wrong. That's for sure. Reciprocative. It's a word.
Oh shoot.
But I mean, there's so many fake words that you can just add endings to things and it'll work out.
Right. You all get the meaning. It's weird. But
yeah. Okay, so then this one for Olivia specifically. Well, he said Zelda person. Olivia, right? Just in case I'm wrong, go with Zelda person. Make a prediction. What will Breath of the Wild?
If we had lower thirds for this show, that would be like the Zelda byline person next to Zelda Universe.
Zelda person.
There you go. Make a prediction. What will Breath of the Wild 2 have that will blow minds? And also biggest hopes and dreams for Breath of the Wild 2. And where does Zelda go after Breath of the Wild 2?
Oh my
so that's
goodness.
3 bits. So what'll it have that'll blow minds?
Blow minds. That's a big question.
That's a huge
wow.
question.
I think the blowing minds and what I hope for are kind of bundled up into one, because I mean, I want my own mind to be blown. Yeah, I think the story, if they can really get the story, because I feel like Breath of the Wild, the exploration was there, but I think the story kind of suffered from it. That's why I like other Zelda games. You work to get to a moment and things change. Like there's like a game-changing moment, kind of feels like, where Yeah, but once I finished the Divine Beast, I was like, oh, that's it. Like, I can go fight Ganon now. Like, and I think if they have like a moment, like other Zelda games do, like after the Water Temple in Twilight Princess, like when Zant comes, like that kind of like changed the whole dynamic of the game. And I think if they can do that, I think that will really just connect you more to the game. And also, I want Ganondorf back. Like Calamity Ganon, like he doesn't talk to me though. Like I want to know what Ganondorf's up to. How does he feel? He's been down there for 10,000 years. He probably has something to say. I mean,
it's probably going to be very nice.
Will get you such a quick in the neck. That's what he says.
Right? Like what's he thinking? I want like the villain speech. I need like that.
Has anybody made that meme yet?
You think
just
it's going to be
a side note? It's just the genie from Aladdin.
Oh,
yeah.
Such a crick in the neck. I hope so.
Is it going to be like a Team Rocket thing where it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and then we're friends with freaking Ganondorf to yeet Calamity Ganon?
I don't know.
How many times did I say yeet in this episode?
Not enough yet.
Not enough.
There's still a couple to come.
Right.
Yeah, Squirtle's not.
Those are good. What about So the last part of this is, where does Zelda go after Breath of the Wild 2?
Are we talking about the franchise or the person?
I think. Oh, yeah.
I know he's talking about the franchise.
She's going to Disney World. No, but yeah, where does the franchise go after this? I guess, do they make more in this kind of open air style or do something different? I don't know. Yeah,
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I think the exploration was so successful. I don't think that they would back away from that and go back to what they usually do. I think a lot of people do want more story though, so I think if they find a good balance between that and Breath of the Wild 2, I think they'll continue to do that. And as far as to what that story will be after Breath of the Wild, I have no idea. I mean, it's always different. I didn't expect Divine Beast in this one. I mean,
maybe it's one of those when they were working on Breath of the Wild, or what became Breath of the Wild. Maybe we get the motorcycle game. Maybe that's what we get. The one with the aliens. Yeah, exactly.
I feel like someone in Nintendo really wants aliens in Zelda. Like, there's the concept art for it I keep seeing. There's the kind of aliens in Majora's Mask, I think it is. I mean, someone is really advocating for aliens over there. And one of these days, they're going to get their Alien Zelda game. I'm convinced.
Yeah. The motorcycle one though, with the Link with the like looking doofy, or that picture is I have to see if I can find that. I won't be able to find
it. Would be a very different conversation around that game. If
that doesn't feel like Link.
Exactly.
Not.
Like smug, like biker Link, like they'd have to give him a different name. That's not Link. I'm sorry.
I think I found it. I'm going to share my screen real quick I can't do it. It says host disabled. Share screen.
Hold on,
it's not your
I'll
fault.
I'll fix it.
It doesn't matter.
Why would you do that?
I'll do it. I didn't do it. The freaking Zoom did it, man. Multiple
Crazy
participants.
Zoom.
There you go. I did it. You
cool.
Now have privilege.
Sharing screen. This one.
Oh my God.
You probably won't be able to see it like super well. I can't. Let me zoom in.
He just looks too goofy.
Yeah. Look at that little doof.
Like, that's not the guy who's gonna save Hyrule. Like,
what about this guy? Oh,
wait.
What is happening? He is old.
It's like 80-year-old Link.
Yeah,
that would be interesting. I guess
that would be interesting.
Oh, yeah, we've seen really young Link, and
it's like a drastic version of like Ocarina of Time.
Right.
Yeah. That would be super interesting. I think that's the thing. Like, I'd like them to go, because it seems like at this point, maybe the like kind of way that the world works won't change all that much, which could make it feel like it becomes more stale or something like that. Like, I don't think that it will, but I guess it could in some regards. Whereas like beforehand, a more linear style, like it feels easier to reinvent every time, but it feels harder to reinvent exploration in the same way. But if they change up the like story and the reason you're exploring and stuff like that enough, then that'll
right. There always seems to be like a main thing about the game that's different enough to where it, So I think, they seem to have an endless amount of ideas. So I'm not worried.
Yeah. They've got that kind of idea at least, where he's doofy and silly. So
that's true.
Next question. This comes from Pocket, who asks, with New Horizons setting the bar for first-party sales, should Nintendo cancel Metroid Prime 4 now or wait till after the holiday season?
Oh my god.
Because it's not going to sell enough? Is that the...
Yeah, there's no way possible that they have that expectation where they're like, the New Horizons did this, now Metroid, if you don't do it,
man alive.
You know, there's no
You don't
way.
beat Animal Crossing.
Like
I don't think
Nintendo has very conservative expectations for the sales of their game. They thought Lifetime Breath of the Wild had the potential of maybe selling 2 million, you know, did that in like a day. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. No.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, they're canceling it. So no, yeah, it's I am curious what it'll sell Lifetime or any of that stuff. But I mean, until we see it too, it'll be hard.
I think
it's
Metroid
got
Prime's
so
going
much
to
more.
I think Metroid Prime specifically number 4 is going to do 5.3 million units. Exactly.
I was going to say somewhere in the 5 range, so whatever that's worth. But I think the fact that it has all this hype behind it now too is like really going for it. So hopefully
it could have like the PlayStation sort of effect where like they're although their heights don't seem to be as high, they a lot like people buy into their games just because they bought the last thing as if they're all connected in a franchise sort of way. Where it's like, man, I liked Horizon Zero Dawn. I'll buy Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
You know, like that.
Right. Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe they're thinking like, I would have never played a Zelda game. Then Breath of the Wild came out. So maybe I'll like Metroid Prime 4 now, you know, like maybe that'll be the logic that people have.
No, totally. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of people where they're like, I bought a Switch and I like Breath of the Wild and serious grown-up games. I'm not going to play any of that Animal Crossing shenanigans or whatever. But I think for them, like that could be an automatic buy-in for Metroid.
Yeah, man. That's where the other 40 million people are at, right? Like there's 61 million people that bought a Switch and only 20 million of it. All 40 million of the other people are going to buy Prime because they're like, that's a baby game. 40 million adults are going to buy Metroid Prime 4 instead.
That's great. Okay, 3 questions from Bianca, who asks, number 1, so it's 3 related questions. Number 1, besides 3D World, are there any Wii U games that would be worthwhile porting to the Switch, or have all the major ones been covered? Number 2,
no, the freaking let's answer them here.
I'm gonna read them all at a time.
Why? Because we're going to answer them and then we're going to read it again. Okay. So just go one by one. Okay. Yes, port the freaking Zelda remaster.
100%. Yes, so that I can finally play Wind Waker and not plug in my game.
Oh my gosh. And Twilight Princess because you have the Wolf Link amiibo. You can only do Cave of Shadows on Wii U. So you have to buy a whole new Switch to get your hearts up for him.
Yep.
It's true.
So that's sad.
I'd be down to play Twilight Princess again. It was a fun time.
Testing.
And there's that. So yeah, those there's other ones. I feel like they could make Star Fox Zero work. They're not going to.
Yeah, they could.
But they could.
It would be decent.
I think they could do certain games from Nintendo Land.
Oh, I was going to say that. Not necessarily games from Nintendo Land, but just in the same way that Splatoon 2 is like
the same concept,
you know,
but
just bring Nintendo Land 2 or, you know, whatever. Bring that over and yeah, and that's a great way to introduce people to also new franchises or like older franchises, like doing an F-Zero game and like get them in the door with
Ice Climbers. You would think I actually like that game.
You just like the potential, you know?
I want to like it. I want to like an Ice Climbers game.
But there's not one that's likable, so
yeah, because the only one that exists is bad.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, if any other ones,
you played X on.
It's not.
Yeah, that too. Port that too. Even though I hate it now. Spending 30 hours. I was playing the 30 hours to get to the freaking mech, and playing the mech feels like garbage, so it wasn't worth.
If you have the other 2, you may as well just.
That's true.
That's true.
Don't let it die on the Wii U. So sad.
It does feel like, I mean, so that is a question, like, is it, how does it feel to be, I don't know. I feel like if you were a Wii U owner and you're mad that all these games are coming over, like,
It's way
You
too.
played
No,
them,
they
so,
don't
like,
matter.
Don't worry about it.
As a Wii U owner, we don't matter. Just do
What if your
you
Wii U breaks or something? You can never play it again.
It's
I don't know.
true.
I don't
True.
know why.
Because they only made 2 Wii U's in the whole world, so like you
Yeah,
gotta make sure.
you'll never get another one. So.
Yeah. And the last part of the question is, how do you
Dusty.
feel about Nintendo?
Wii
Look
U.
at that.
It's death.
A
Fill
white
it out.
one.
How do you feel about Nintendo delisting Pikmin 3 on the Wii U eShop? I get it. It is. I do get that it's kind of
kind of gross. Kind of gross.
honestly, but like
Yeah.
I get it from a marketing type standpoint. But at the same time, like how many people? Some it would see a bump. Like
Me.
like
No,
some
wait a
people.
minute.
That's true. But like some people would go back and buy it because they're like, oh, that's coming out. Oh, I guess I can just play it on the original.
But
Okay.
I also, to
Not
be
that
fair,
many
I
people.
also think that's kind of gross. Being like, oh,
Yeah.
Pikmin 3's in the zeitgeist, and I want to take part, but not pay for the game full price. I'm going to pay $20 on the eShop on the Wii. Like that, I think that's kind of gross too. So there's that.
But a gross individual decision feels, a little bit less slimy than like a.
Yeah, I mean, of
corporation
course,
thing
but
for
I just
sure.
mean, but it's also gross.
I don't know. I just think it's weird because how many people are actually gonna like, if you have a
Do that.
Wii U,
Mhm.
Right.
like, and you're just now gonna buy Pikmin, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like, how many people is this gonna affect? Really?
Right, exactly. I mean, like they did the same thing with Donkey Kong Tropical Tropical Freeze, and like same kind of thing. I'm like, come on, if people had ample opportunity, like, I don't know. There weren't enough Wii U owners in the first place, like people,
Yeah.
to make it really
It's weird,
matter.
but I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, I'm not mad for personal reasons because
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy it on
Yeah.
Switch, so like whatever.
Same.
Next question is from Alicia Benitez, who asked, "Fave and least fave of Zelda companions." Mifo is pretty, or sorry, Midna was pretty great.
Yeah. I
She
feel like
was.
Midna's probably I like the Red Lions man too, dude.
No, King of Red Lions.
Yeah, I like him.
That's Parker's favorite too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's great. I like his mane is just, it's
he's a talking
spectacular.
boat.
Right.
He's a talking
boat
lion
man.
who just runs around the fields.
You guys have
It
legs.
runs around the fields.
Yep.
Oh my god.
His big old crown. Goodness gracious.
Not that
Nah,
he
man.
can't swim.
He's the best
Yeah.
one because he's a talking boat.
Yeah.
A talking boat dragon lion.
Come to think of it, have any of the 2D games had companions? I haven't played all of them, so
I don't.
I mean, Minish is the Minish Cap. Does it talk to you?
Yeah, Eslo.
Oh yeah,
That's
true.
his name.
So that's kind of a companion, I guess. I mean, I can't not say Navi at the same time because she's so annoying. But like,
Yeah,
classic,
no, not
you
her.
know,
No.
No.
It's
She's
nostalgic
classic for being the least favorite one. She's
Like
the
she
most
doesn't give me a
popular
reason to
least
care about her. Like
No, she's just Mimi, and
favorite.
it's
She just gives
it's
me a
great.
reason to
not
not
like a grandmother,
her.
but like a meme. But
I don't
Midna, I'd say
Sure.
probably Midna.
yeah, I like her so much, Midna, because of like how she changes in the
Mhm.
game. Like she's not just your companion. Like she has like an arc, like a character
Mhm.
arc, and she changes and she evolves. And I think that's unique to her.
Yeah,
Other than that, I mean, Fee was really great. It was the closest.
Hey, the
to
Dragon
having
Man boat, he evolves.
into Charizard.
physically.
Sure. Physically, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like the evolution definitely makes it feel more like a companion and less like a tutorial, because that's like Navi just feels like a tutorial, you know? Like,
right. Like
for the
she
most
wasn't
part.
just trying to tell me what to do. Like but like she had like a purpose in the game,
Mhm.
like a. Which is funny because when they
She
were
had her
making
own
Twilight
motivation.
Princess, they didn't even have Midna. They just had Wolflink, and they thought his back looked too bare. So like we need to put something on his back, and so
Oh,
that's how
really?
Midna. Yeah, that's how they came up with Midna. They thought it was boring looking at Link's back, so they
That's so funny.
yeah.
That's such a Nintendo thing.
It
Yeah, they're
really
like-
is.
And it became such a pivotal part of Twilight Princess. Like,
Yeah,
how
exactly.
do you have that without her? It's funny, like his back's boring.
Slap
Like-
something on there.
Yeah,
Oh, man. The second part of this question is, do you think we'll be able to play a Zelda in Breath of the Wild 2 like full control, or kind of like we could in Phantom Hourglass?
We better get full control or I riot.
I want full control. I want it to be kind of like Xenoblade or Final Fantasy. Like she's like a party member. You can like swap between Link and Zelda. Like, I mean, like why not? It would make a lot of sense.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I mean,
go.
They set her up in Breath of the Wild to like have such a more important role. Like she can do so much. Like let her do a lot.
Yep. I think that's the biggest question is like mechanically, how similar or different is she going to be from Link, and like how, and that's not like even me say, obviously I wanted to play, but so that'll be interesting to see, like, will there be puzzles or something like that that only she can do or only Link can do?
Right.
Will it be co-op between having both of them?
That's what I said, to go Portal 2, make this Portal 2. They said the original Portal influenced this game. I mean, the original game. So let Portal 2 influence this one.
That would be cool.
Is Portal 2 co-op? I never played it.
Yes, it is.
Nice. Good job.
She can use her scholarly aspect, like deciphering things, translate. I don't know, like things that she can do that Link can't do. Like she has those attributes to her.
Right. Anything he can do, she can do better. She can do anything better than him.
No, he
can't. That whole song.
Can't wield a Master Sword.
Yeah, that's true.
If she could.
Then like just get out of there, Link.
It'll just be easier for her to find it.
Yeah.
Like
if the Legend of Zelda. Zelda.
Yeah, if Zelda was there, she could have been like, "Yo, Olivia, the Master Sword's over there." Just
yeah, Link didn't tell me anything.
Yeah.
He can't tell me anything.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, but like whether she'll be still voice acted, if she's part of like your cast or whatever, and like what that means for like if Link's not voice acted but she is, and they're equally part of your team, like that'll be an interesting dynamic.
Just sign language.
Perfect. I mean, yeah. Somebody mentioned that it was Ian, I'm pretty sure, who said that he should just be mute, and then that's just part of it, is like he just can't communicate, and it's
like
a canonical
Nintendo's
reason.
way of teaching the world sign language.
Yeah, right.
Perfect.
Instead of learning ocarina parts or like wolf howling parts, you just learn legit sign language, and it takes like forever. Next question. This comes from Katie Michelle, who says, what's Olivia's opinions / feelings about the rumors that we'll finally have a playable Zelda in Breath of the Wild 2? We were already talking about that. Look at that.
Makes me really happy.
There you go.
And I'm down for it.
And then, and any name predictions for Breath of the Wild 2?
Oh, wow.
Probably just Breath of the Wild 2.
It
is. Anytime we see like fake leaks or whatever for Nintendo Directs, and they try to guess at
Yoshi's
this game's
Flipping
name,
World.
Oh, it's so bad. Like it'll be like Legend of Zelda, Exhale of the Wild or something, and I'm like, that's a real one that somebody put. Maybe it was like a troll one. I don't know.
Breath of the Wild 2. Link sleeps.
And then we finally.
This is Yoga of the Wild.
It's so hard. I wish I knew more about what it was gonna be like. You know, like there's all those rumors.
Oh no, I got it, dude. We gotta name it based off of the game we made, where it's scary. Just make it a scary name.
Yes. But the tiny ropes. I'm gonna tell the tiny ropes.
It's a Zelda and Mario crossover. It's Legend of Zelda, little. Tiny Huge Island.
Oh, the mini, you're talking about like
the one from Mario 64 where you go in and you're really big and the island's small.
Yeah.
You're big and you're small. That one. There we go. Yeah, we don't know what it's going to be called, but something's so good. True. Mecha Dragon 101 says Crash Bandicoot 4.
Meh.
You know? There it is.
Meh.
That's the question. And then last up, we got questions from Discord. Here they go. Duncan asks, who's your favorite superhero and why is it Spider-Man?
It's Spider-Man because he's Spider-Man.
I'm going to say Thor. That's all.
Boo.
Carry on.
My friend had a dog named Thor and he was freaking huge.
My friend also had a dog named Thor. Oh my goodness.
Was he freaking huge? Was he
didn't.
No,
Oh.
he was like bulky, but a small bulky.
He was
Bulldog.
gigantic. He looked like a
Chunky.
bear. He looked like a blonde bear. Dog was giant.
That's Thor.
Yep. There you go.
That's
Perfect.
true.
I don't know.
think
So I'd say
Iron
Thor.
Man.
What about you? Iron Man.
Iron Man, just because like he doesn't actually have powers. He's
Mm.
like
He
a
just has
normal person.
money.
He's just really
Yeah.
smart and he's money, but like if you don't have a superpower, like
Mm-hmm.
you're in luck. You can build a suit of armor instead. Like
There you go.
you can still be cool.
That's
Okay,
true.
so here's a question. I don't know exactly how old you are, but it seems like you're maybe a little bit younger than me. How
I'm
old were
19.
you? Okay, how old were you when Iron Man came out, the movie?
the original comic
Yeah.
book.
Oh, yeah. But
Wow.
so
Like when did it come out?
2008, I think. So
I was 7.
okay.
I was just playing Twilight Princess.
Look at that.
Oh.
So did you?
Well, I mean,
like-
we all were, I guess.
So you probably like grew up on the MCU, maybe. I don't know, maybe not.
Kind of. I watched like the ones on like Netflix, like the
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
it was like the rings. He was like collecting these like rings. What was it?
I don't know.
Kind of. I mean, and then we started watching them when I was like 10. So I kind of did
Mhm.
grow up on it.
Okay.
And then I would forget them, so we would rewatch them.
Uh-huh.
But I did kind of. So it is funny thinking how long that they've like.
Mhm.
I was
It-
7, and now like
It's crazy too. So like people's experience of for the first superhero movie I ever saw was Spider-Man. So definitely like Spider-Man in my mind is like the quintessential superhero
Yeah.
because I didn't read any
Mhm.
comics or whatever, but I just wondered if like the first, if like Iron Man was the first one that you saw, Spider-Man was the first one I saw or whatever. Those kinds of things. But and I was probably I was like 9 when that came out. But what was I gonna say? Superhero movies, they just do it. And
Yep, they sure do.
I lost my train of thought.
I don't even know what was my like first exposure to Spider-Man because I mean I've read comics but not
Mhm.
actively, like it's because
Yeah.
my dad's in the comics and I'm like that's a
Mhm.
cool thing. But most of I just had a bunch of Spider-Man crap. I had like
Mhm.
Spider-Man PlayStation 1 game.
Yeah.
I had two of the same Spider-Man lamp, and it was
Mhm.
like it's a morbid lamp. It's just his head, and I had 2 of those. I don't know why. It's messed up.
oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So I remembered my thought, and it was
Okay.
and it's the way that people experience the MCU differently. And I remember seeing, and I'm not going to spoil things, even though it's been plenty of time. People can see it, whatever. But the end of Endgame, and like kind of how some important things wrap up there. And I remember talking to my coworker, and she was like, "I just thought, like, I really didn't expect some of those things to happen." And I was like, I definitely saw all of that coming from miles away. Like it just seemed like it was time.
I
but
hoped.
then
I
but then I
hoped
realized
something-
she'd caught up with all of them in the past like 3 months before Endgame came out. So she was just introduced to these characters
Yeah.
and interacted with them for several months, and then that kind of stuff. So I was like, oh, well, okay,
Mhm.
I've been around, like Iron Man's been around since 2008 for me. So like whatever.
12 long
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
What were you
Iron Man's
saying,
a good
Olivia?
choice though. Sorry, I interrupted you.
You were like trying to say something when Parker was talking. You made her forget. It's all your fault.
I'm just kind of like I think it was the only way it could end realistically.
I
like-
agree.
Mhm.
Like if it's sad, but if you don't do what makes sense, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I exactly agree with that. So continuing on. So apparently, according to Duncan, we all picked Spider-Man anyway, though, so it doesn't even matter. Grimhane asks, did AJ and Parker and Olivia, but specifically AJ, remember to eat today? No chips and dip do not count. Neither do
This
theoretical
is a
foods.
personal attack. A personal attack. I
Did you
did remember to eat today.
Look at that.
I had
What a pro.
pizza and also a breakfast sandwich. So I ate 2 times. I forget to
That's
eat a lot.
good.
I forget to eat a whole lot.
Mhm.
And that's why he asked that. That's why it's targeted.
It's true. I don't forget. It just happens. So there it is. Would you so to both all of us now, would you
Mhm.
rather live in the Batcave or the Fortress of Solitude, and why?
The Batcave, because there's more cool toys.
Batcave.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
don't know, just cooler.
It's true.
Just
Yeah.
is. It sounds
Objectively
cooler.
That's not a question for that. Okay. Chikapo asks, other than Breath of the Wild 2, Electric Boogaloo, what do you hope to see from the Zelda franchise?
I want them to do a new like 2D Zelda game, but like so like one that's on the level production wise, I guess, as Link's Awakening, but a new thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think this answers the question. I've always wanted to see more of like Gerudo and like Ganon as a young Ganon, and see like you just always see him when he's like super evil, but like I mean, he came from somewhere.
So kind of like, because didn't they have that? There was like a leak or something of.
I'm sorry, I was reading ahead.
Oh yeah, there was a leak from I think the GameCube era or the DS era or something like that, where there was gonna be like a Gerudo game or something like that. And it was about like the final Gerudo or something along those lines, which seems like it'd be pretty much that. Which that'd be awesome.
I would love that. I don't know. I just want to know backstories of everyone and everything. And like, I want to know everything, but they don't tell me everything, and it bothers me.
Yeah,
it's true.
I think for me, I'd love to see some evolution of Zelda 2. Just like,
what do you mean?
Like just a more RPG-ish Zelda.
Nah, I'm
like
not down.
Numbers.
I veto that. Parker doesn't want that.
So, and I was thinking about a video topic recently, but of like, I wonder if Breath of the Wild 2 could kind of be pulling from Zelda 2 in the same way the Breath of the Wild 1 was pulling from Zelda 1, in that I still think that there's going to be magic powers in Breath of the Wild 2. And although we've seen those before, the place we've seen them probably the most was in Zelda 2. So that would be interesting.
I would love that.
Grimhane asks several questions here. He says, who's your favorite Disney princess and why isn't it Belle? You don't like Belle, apparently. Mulan. Does she count? She's a Disney princess, right?
She counts, dude. She counts.
Oh, I love Mulan.
Yeah.
I love the music in Mulan.
It's so good.
Parker was paid off to promote the movie.
Right. I like.
It's not exclusive to me, so it's all right. It's not that gross.
I like Merida. I just love her hair. I love the way she talks. She's just like.
I still never saw that movie. I still never saw it.
It's so fun. It was.
It's on Disney Plus. I need to just watch it.
I like it.
I'm bad at watching things. As people that listen.
Great, Mulan and Merida.
I don't know. I'm gonna say Belle just to spite Grimhane.
Cool. If there could only be one genre of music, what genre would you want it to be?
Zelda.
I don't know. No, you know what's the easiest, the easy answer, because it's like actually doesn't have a real definition because it's everything pop.
Oh, you're not wrong, honestly.
Because it's just
except
everything.
For
so that
99% of the time, it's not. It doesn't line up with the main music that I want to be listening to.
That's true. It's true.
That's
true.
fair.
But it's multiple genres, though. So at least there would be some level of variety.
That's very true.
Which I would crave, even if it was like, you know, like there's no one genre that I'm like, I just want to listen to this and literally nothing else for the rest of all time. Because that would mean in everything. Like that would mean even in games, I couldn't like there could be nothing but that. So it's like, nah, I don't know.
It's just like video game music.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's
genre.
Super,
then just like take everything from that.
I was gonna say, and like this to somebody who doesn't listen to it, this will sound like a pretty niche thing, but progressive metal, because the progressive part of it kind of means, and as it's defined by, I don't know, some people, that like you can do whatever you want in it and it still could be considered like you could have just like I don't know, a acoustic sing-song kind of, or like singer-songwriter kind of song on a progressive metal album. It's like, it's progressive, we can do whatever we want, shut up. And so I'm like, all right, I can get behind that. And also,
I like it.
happen to listen to it a lot. So there you go. Works out. Also, obligatory. What's your favorite Zelda game?
Wait, Olivia didn't answer the question.
Wait,
the music one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She said Zelda music and then video game music.
Right.
But
I listen to it at work.
Count.
I mean, I have a whole. People ask, "What are you listening?" I'm like, classical.
A different kind of classical.
You wouldn't understand.
Okay.
That's funny. So yeah, favorite Zelda game? Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild. Yeah.
I love Breath of the Wild, but it has to be Twilight Princess for me, just because it was
dare.
like it was just the very first one, and I didn't even know other Zelda games exist, and I play it when I'm sad. I like it just.
I know the context of that, but like you said, it was the very first one, and it's funny because like in every way to you it was, whereas like you didn't even know other Zelda games existed.
It was like the only Zelda game to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know, the story is just I don't know, it brings me back to when I was 7, and that feeling, I just love that.
That's nostalgia is a powerful tool.
It is. Because Breath of the Wild is so good, but if I could only play one Zelda game ever in my life, it would be Twilight Princess.
Nostalgia is so powerful that it makes people think that N64 is more than beta for 3D gaming. Moving on. Who should AJ get into Elite Smash next? I'm getting Wolfen next. Cool. Elite Smash is free now. It's so free. I literally, I turned on Quick Play and I was like, I'm going to get Banjo in Elite Smash. I played 6 matches, and he was in Elite Smash. It's too easy now. Man, that's crazy. And then to finish up, it just a string of meme questions. Mega Man asks, why is AJ so toxic in Smash? You've heard it says, why is AJ so toxic, period. Sorry, T. Why is AJ synonymous with toxic? Grimhane. Why is everyone projecting onto AJ so much today? And Mega Man, why is Grimhane so toxic? That was a nice arc. I enjoyed. It's true. How it went. It was fun. But I also enjoyed how this podcast went. And it's done. Look at that. We did it. It's all done. We totally forgot to ask you to play. We'll put just like links in the description and stuff like that. But where can people find you and Zelda Universe and all that stuff? It's so hard. I don't even know my own Twitter. I mean, all the ones were taken, so I just typed my name in a weird way. You can find me on Zelda Universe. Comment on my articles and make me really happy. On every article that you write. Comment on every article by me. Just click on my name in my article. They'll all pull up. Comment on how much you love me, and I will love you forever. And I appreciate that. Thank you. That's true. And we will link her stuff that she didn't remember to say. I don't even know my own things. Also, we definitely had to have Olivia on, just generally because this was fun, but also because we didn't even get to ask her the meme question. We didn't even bring it up. So, I don't even know what it is. We can't tell you. You have to come back. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's collateral. I would love to. Good stuff. All right, well, that's it from us, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Do the YouTube stuff, and if you're still around at this point, you already know what to do. So there it is. See you later. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Bye.